Hello everybody, welcome to the stream. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate y'all showing up. Let's see. Let's do a little maintenance stuff before we go anywhere.
I supply only the finest goods.
Mark Oz, welcome to the stream, man. Thanks for being here. Hey, Miles. Dan, welcome, guys. Brocky, good afternoon. Hardcore will have no restrictions. Dan, did we get some news today that I didn't see? I have not checked Wowhead all day. I have not been at Wowhead. We have family in town this week, and we've been out doing stuff. So I've had kind of a busy day. I'm gonna pull up Wowhead real quick and take a look. Let me see. Oh snap! Rules of Engagement Classic Hardcore. Okay, cool. Let me take a look at this really quick, if you guys don't mind. Hardcore PTRs tomorrow. Oh snap! Let me see. It's official, Hardcore Realms are coming to WoW. Players will have the opportunity to show if they have the edge, the grit, the very will to engage with Azeroth, its denizens, and their fellow players to survive. If I pull this over here, you guys still can't see it. Awesome. The rule set. Death on Hardcore Realms is permanent on the realm. This means if you die, you won't be able to run back to your corpse and resurrect, nor can you be rezzed by any other spell or ability. This means that even if you have abilities as part of your class, like Shaman Reincarnate or Warlock Soulstone, they can't be used. You will continue to exist in the game world as a ghost to facilitate communication with in-game friends and resolve logistical matters such as handing over guild leadership if you are a guildmaster who has died an unfortunate death at the hands of a Defias bandit. Okay. So let's keep going. Your character is not necessarily lost if you die, however. After dying on a hardcore realm, players will be... This is good. And somebody asked me if this would be the case. I like this one. After dying on a hardcore realm, players will be able to utilize a free character move service to move their dead character to a non-hardcore classic era realm. Once the move is complete to the non-hardcore realm, that character may resurrect as normal. Okay. That's cool. What else? PvP flagging and you. Players would no longer be automatically flagged for PvP upon attacking another player. So this is for like to stop griefing, right? So if I accidentally attack a rogue in stealth, I don't get flagged. Somehow. To flag yourself for PvP, you must type the command /PvP. You won't be able to take hostile actions against a flagged enemy. Oh, you won't even be able to attack them. Well, that's really cool. What else? Yeah, so this is to prevent griefing. That's good. PvP Battlegrounds and Warfare. PvP Battlegrounds completely disabled. Okay. Yeah, no BGs, which makes sense, I guess. I don't think people do BGs now, do they? PvP and quest updates. Various quest objectives that cause players to become PvP flagged. Okay, so they're changing some of that stuff. Got it. That's good. That also prevents griefing. Danger leashed. Most creatures will leash and reset when leaving the area or zone they were engaged in. Don't they already do this? Don't most creatures already leash and reset? Alright. Okay, apparently I have some surprises to come. Let's see. Dungeons on the clock. All dungeons have at least a 24-hour lockout timer for players below 60. Okay. One of the more important aspects of WoW Classic Hardcore Realms is engaging in adventures in the outside world with other players. They're taking this tack to it. Creating random and serendipitous interactions is a core aspect of the original release of WoW, and spending most of your time in dungeons is counter in spirit to what hardcore is about. That sounds like bullshit, but let's keep going. We do recognize that there may be a desire to run a dungeon while leveling multiple times, such as to finish a quest or get an important piece of loot. As a result, we've added 24-hour timers. I like this. Yeah. I think this is actually really good. Yeah, this seems really good to me for dungeons. I also want to run them multiple times, but I don't have to do it in the same day. And yeah, oftentimes I don't really want to run it back to back, especially in like a hardcore situation. Like the longer you're in the dungeon, the more chance you have to get killed. So I feel like this one is fine. I like it actually. Look at it this way. It's going to let us actually get gear. We're going to actually be able to gear up. And that's good, right? Okay, let's keep going though. To buff or debuff, the 16 debuff limit and 32 buff limits have been removed. 32 is a lot of buffs. Debuff and buff limits were originally a technical limitation in the earliest version of WoW and was not a conscious design at the time. This aspect of the original release was maintained for WoW Classic in 2019 for authenticity. Yeah, like all the other authentic shit, like being able to turn your raid frames on and have party colors and move your UI around. You know, all the other shit that did just get put in because they couldn't figure out how to make it classic. You know, we got automatically. But okay, so we can buff up to 32 buffs. I don't think that really affects most players. So yeah, here we go. Bubble Hearth no more. Oh boy, here we go. Paladins will not be able to use their Hearthstone while under the effects of Blessing of Protection, Divine Protection, or Divine Shield on hardcore realms. Alright, what about the fucking Voidwalker sacrifice? What about Power Word Shield? What about Stoneclaw Totem aggroing a mob while you hearth away? What about Frost Nova Blink Hearth? What about every other situation where you can... What about Roots Hearth? What about every situation where you can stop yourself from taking damage and hearth out that isn't a paladin? What about that shit? Anyway, moving on. To move the stream along, a duel to the death, a new feature has been added. Duel to the death, aka hardcore for idiots. Here we go. To issue a duel to the death, you will need to right-click the target's portrait. Request a duel to the death. Oh, I can't wait to get like hundreds of duel to the death pop-ups, like to get spam with them all the fucking time until you accidentally click yes to one and get killed, right? What's the limitation here and how do I turn it off? How do I stop it so that no one can do this to me? Because eventually what's going to happen is somebody's going to hit accept on accident, right? Yeah, duel to the death, hardcore for idiots. Want to die in the stupidest and most meaningless way possible? Do a duel to the death. Yeah. If you do a duel to the death, you deserve to die. Both sides of it. Like, you both deserve to lose your character. It's... give me a break. You're going to see a lot of duels from levels 1 to 5. You're probably not going to see a lot of that afterwards. All content phases available from... I think we assumed this, right? Like, I never thought about this. I never thought that they would, like, have to, like, phase it out over the life of the server. I always assumed we would get it as we got it right now. So that's probably all just standard stuff. See, gameplay... What is this? Gameplay, zone disruption, and malicious player killing outside of consensual PvP. Oh, consensual PvP now. By this we mean deliberate action to hamper or significantly impede the ability of other players to enjoy the game, such as but not limited to repeatedly killing quest NPCs or kiting important quest mobs far away from their spawn location to prevent them from being killed. I've never seen anything like that, but yeah, sure, that probably happens all the time. Wait, is this it? Where are the rest of the rules? Hold on, what did I miss? Play nice, play fair. All content from the word go. Okay. I seem to be missing shit about trades. And auction house. Are we just not talking about any of that stuff at all? Or did I miss something? Yeah, it feels like we're not talking about it at all. It's allowed because they didn't talk about it at all? Why don't they even... They address everything else, right? Like, they talk about every single thing. They talk about the death. Like, they have 3 paragraphs about how death is permanent. They have 2 paragraphs about PvP flagging. They locked out PvP battlegrounds. We talked about quest updates. We talked about leashing. But we're not talking about trading or the auction house. Okay, so yeah, so the official Blizzard hardcore server, it's going to be really good. It's going to be hardcore for the first wave of people. So it's going to be hardcore for the first wave of people that go in. And besides that, it's not going to be hardcore after that because you're going to be able to support your character. You're going to be able to have your friend toss you some gold, give you some bis items. And yeah. Cool. I mean, that's cool. Shit, it's going to make my hardcore run a lot easier. So, that's fine.
Safe travel.
It's going to make it so that I only do a single run. I probably will only do one character on the realm. But yeah, it's going to make that character a lot easier. Absolutely. Yeah, but Mike, no one's going to make up our own hardcore rules and play on top of it, man, because no one else is doing that. You want to play by the rules that you think everyone is playing. The way that people enjoy games is we enjoy games most, multiplayer games, when we can fairly believe that everybody is playing by the same rules. That's part of what makes a game, like a multiplayer game, fun to enjoy, is that you have the basic idea that for the most part everyone is adhering to the same rules. If I'm like going to self-impose rules, like, yeah, some people can do that, but you know, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to play with the rules they gave me. Yeah, the hardcore add-on rules are all made up, absolutely. But we've all agreed to play by them. You know what I mean? And some people don't, but you know what I mean. Like, we all installed the add-on. We are all going for verification, so we are all agreeing to play by the made-up rules. And so on the Blizzard hardcore servers, we're going to all agree to play by Blizzard's rules. And those rules will not restrict trade or auction house. So I don't, if they think that's fine, I don't see a reason why we should bother with any more self-imposed rules. Yeah, you know, I'm going to play with the rules that they give me, and I'm going to do a single hardcore run. We're going to get it to 60, and that's going to be it. There are not going to be any alts. We're not going to do any hardcore runs where we send ourselves gold or kit ourselves out. But yeah, it'll be fun for one go, and that's kind of what I thought it was going to. I thought it was going to be fun for one go, and then that was probably going to be it. Alright, we could talk about this more, but I kind of want to get us in motion here to figure out like what we're going to do this evening. And then we could talk about this a little bit more if we want. Yeah, I like that when your character dies, you have the chance to send it to a non-hardcore server. I think that's awesome. Yeah. But what you can do is, like, you know, your friends can put something up on the auction house super cheap and you can go grab it. So you got someone who's alive, who you know, who has resources. Well, then you have someone who can now hook up your level 1 character with best in slot level 1 gear, you know. And I'm sure guilds will form around the idea that, like, you know, there will be guild resources for, like, new characters and stuff. No, Rich, no changes to professions at all, but they opened up the auction house and trading, so what that does is at least it does allow people to practice their professions. You know, enchanters can get what they need. You can buy, you know, resources now in the auction house, so it's going to be good for the first round of characters. Yeah, it feels like it's going to be a really good experience for the first round.
Be with you.
And once we're like a few weeks to a month in, like everything after that is going to be like level 1 twinks. Yeah. So, yeah, that's it. Where are we going? What do we want to do? Where are we set to? We could hearth back to Booty Bay. That's always, you know, a favorite. Lesser Bloodstone Ore. That's in the Arathi Highlands. Pretty boy. We could go after the Bloodsail Buccaneers. Maybe we can do that. I don't know if we have any like better options. Holly, welcome. Sorry, I probably missed a bunch of you guys coming in when we had read through the official hardcore rules put out by Blizzard, which apparently went up today, and I hadn't looked at them yet. So sorry, guys, I probably missed a lot of you guys coming in. Thank you all for being here. Yeah, for the most part, I'm okay with the hardcore rules. Yep, I mean, it's gonna have its effects. Like, the effects are gonna be what they are, and not all of the effects are gonna be really good for like the longevity of hardcore on the server as we know it today. It's obviously gonna change, which probably means that it's gonna go away, right?
Hey there.
Yeah. Everything has its time. Everything has its time to shine. And unfortunately, for better or worse, like, everything passes, right?
See you around.
Lael, Buffalo Bill, welcome to the stream, guys. I see so many quests here. We need to find the up to snuff quest, because we're going to get snuff from the same guys we're fighting for the kill quest. I don't know, what do you guys think? Like, for you guys, what's the worst part of the new rules, and what's like one of the better parts of the new rules? for me, I really like to, I really like the idea of being able to do the dungeons more often, you know, that's been one of my pet peeves. I feel like the day lockout is a pretty good trade-off that I didn't think about that, like having a 24-hour lockout on the dungeons. That's actually really cool. So, you know, yeah, you can't farm them like all day long, but you can do them multiple times.
You got my attention.
Natalie, hello, welcome to the stream. Thanks for hanging out.
Watch your back.
Cyan, good morning to you. Johnny, it just doesn't say that they're not going to be allowed. Yeah, they don't talk about it at all. They just, it's not a restriction they listed. That's the list of all the restrictions and all the changes, and there are no restrictions in there to trading or to the auction house. And if they had any restrictions in mind, they would have included them with that post. So yeah, they allow it by not talking about it at all. They don't have to say, we're allowing the auction house and trading. Like, they didn't say that. But they didn't say that we couldn't do it, which means that we can. Everything they don't want us to do, they disabled. Like, paladins can no longer bubble hearth, you just can't do it. They disabled the battlegrounds, I'm pretty sure they said. And then they changed the way PvP flagging works. So, like, the changes that they wanted to make, they did bake them all into the server. And so now we just play with the baked-in rules, and we do whatever we can do. Which in this case means trading, and it means auction house. And I think we all kind of knew that was going to be how it was, you know? We had some different ideas on things they could do, things they could change. We had some ideas about how the auction house could be handled for only professions. But I think we all knew what was going to actually happen. So I'm not surprised by anything that I just read. Actually, the biggest surprise was that they're going to allow us to run multiple dungeons. I thought it would be like the thing I wanted would be the thing that didn't make it in, you know. So for me the rules are okay. Ooh, I switched this out. That was not good. I have lost my blessing of freedom. That's not what you want to see. Here it is. Yeah, I think that the rules are fine. I think that's the best that we could hope for. And hey, now we know. Now we know ahead of time. You know what they didn't say? Unless I missed it, they didn't have a release date, did they? They didn't have like a release window or anything like that. So, yeah. Yeah, no dates. Hardcore Public Test Realm goes live June 29th. Okay. That's cool. Maybe I'll do some stuff on the PTR. I don't know why or what. I guess somebody has to play the PTR, right? Somebody has to test the things and click the stuff, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, Red Robin, I was curious about the leashes as well. All I can think, because you know, mobs do leash, right? They're like, most mobs will leash now, and I'm thinking to myself, most mobs do leash now. So what changed? You can kind of keep hitting an enemy to reset the leash timer, and maybe that's what they mean. Maybe they mean that you will not be able to kite enemies as far from their spawn point. You know, or maybe they're talking about like special elites, and the elites that people used to drag into cities to get a bunch of people killed. Maybe they're talking about like specifically mobs like that, because yeah, mobs have definitely always leashed. It is to stop people from pulling certain mobs into cities. Yeah, that's kind of all I can think of. Yeah, Mark, I do still think it's going to be the middle to end of September now, especially with all of Blizz's other releases that are going to be coming up. Ah, level 43 Warlock was not really what I what I wanted. How many of these guys am I gonna have to fight? Yeah, hey, it's good that they got the rules out there at least. If they're not going to give us an exact date, at least we know what the rules are going to be, and then people can kind of decide, you know, what their future is with hardcore. Because I know, like, some people are not going to like these rules. Some people are going to like them a lot, and other people are going to hate them. So, yeah. The Plastic Nerd, welcome to the stream, man. Thanks for being here. We're just having a little chat about the Blizz post today, about the official hardcore rules. Just a little chat. The PTR's capped at 30. That would make sense, yeah. I wouldn't want to let anybody spend too much time there playing around, you know. The only things that I kind of would like to test out would be things that people won't engage with. Like, I'd like to see how using the auction house affects a playthrough. You know, because I think that it's going to make parts of the playthrough a lot easier, but ultimately, you're still going to get yourself killed in similar ways. You know, even if you kit yourself out in, like, all greens, there are mistakes that you will make that, you know, you're still going to be just as dead. It's that while you're making smart choices, you're going to feel a little bit more powerful. And, like, will it get you out of trouble sometimes? Being kitted out in better gear? Absolutely. But it's not really, like, a definitive gonna save your life just because you bought some auction house gear. That's not gonna be how it works. The problem is gonna be when people can kit out their alts, you know? They can either kit out their alts or they kit out, like, their friend's character or something like that. That's going to be the problem, because then people are going to have, like, a lot more powerful gear at that point at low levels. Clint, we did a little bit in Feralus. We did a couple of quests there. We did a kill quest for Naga and, like, an investigation quest. And we still have some stuff to do there, but I'm kind of bouncing between a few zones right now. I mean, Johnny, I think that if they weren't gonna allow it, then they probably would have told us already. I know how you feel. Like, part of me thinks it could be better if they didn't allow it, but I feel like if that were the case, we would know about it now. I have to leash this pull because, yeah, I don't think I want to take all those fireballs and all those shadow balls, so I'm gonna leash this guy. So we kind of stumbled into him. Yeah, if they weren't gonna allow trades, it would have been in that news post. I think. I don't think they would hold that back and then tell us that later. That's my only real thought about it. And, like, they did take the easy way out, like, they didn't have to come out and say it, you know? I'm sure if you look in the comments for the post, like, people talk about it. Maybe there will be a blue who will respond eventually and clarify the trading and auction house, but yeah. The fact that they didn't say, you know, no trading, no auction house means that there is trading and there is auction house. They're not going to limit it. Yeah, we talked about lots of ideas before about, like, what they could do, you know. But if they were going to do any of that stuff, guys, they would have done it already. Like, they would be... I would have just read it out loud to you. You know, we have to lay off the copium. If they were going to do any of that stuff, I would have just read it out to you when I was reading the post. That's the completed post. That's all the baked-in changes that they're making for this server, so... I think that we can't expect them to come out tomorrow and be like, oh, by the way, we forgot the most important thing. We forgot to tell you, you can't use the auction house or trade with each other. Sorry, we just totally forgot it yesterday. I don't think that that's going to happen. I don't think there's any world where that happens. Even a world where people are, like, furious about it, enough people like me won't care. Unfortunately, that they're not going to, like, come back out and change it. Yeah, Kurt, I'm like a little bit excited. I'm a little, yeah, we're gonna roll on the servers too, but they're not gonna come out until the end of summer, so we still have a lot of time. Alex, you're right. Grouping is allowed on hardcore official servers. Yep, open world grouping is allowed because they didn't say it wasn't. So there you go. Whitney, welcome to the stream. Thank you for coming by and hanging out. Yeah, we're gonna group up in the open world. We're gonna see somebody doing a quest, and we're gonna invite them to group, and we're gonna get the quest done together, and it's gonna be safer, and we're not gonna have to fight for spawns. It's gonna be a great time. It's gonna be a great time because then, you know, when we're lined up in a place for a named guy, only one person in the group has to go line up to tag him. You know. Think of all the elite villages that we'll be able to clear. Think of like Pyrewood Village. Think about the ogres in northeastern Loch Madan. At least we have Duel to the Death, something nobody wanted or asked for. Exactly. Duel to the Death, aka hardcore for stupid people. Yeah, no more lines. No more lines. Listen, there were never any lines anyway, but now more people can get credit for the quest. So, yeah. Yeah, I think it's going to be fine. You know what the best thing about it is? The best thing about it is that it's still going to be hardcore, but it's going to be a little different. Yeah. It's still going to be hardcore. The challenge is still going to be statistically impossible for most players to ever complete. Let's not kid ourselves. None of these rules that we're allowed to now do, none of it's going to change the fact that most people aren't going to make it. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a different way to play hardcore. Robert, you could still use the add-on, yeah, but I'm not going to. I don't want to use any add-ons. I don't have to. And if I'm playing on an official Blizzard hardcore server, I'm gonna play by their rules. It's their server. I'm gonna play by those rules on the server, the ones that are baked into it. If I wanted to play with the add-on, I would probably keep playing here on Bloodsail Buccaneers, and we may do that. Especially depending on where the Paladin's at when the official hardcore comes out. We may end up playing with the add-on on Bloodsail Buccaneers and playing on the official hardcore servers, but we'll be using the baked-in rules for that because that's kind of the whole point. Yeah, I'm not going to, and I wouldn't want anybody to go play on the official server and use this add-on. Don't do it. Don't do it. I am having a hard time wrapping my head around the idea of fighting a level 43 warlock with a succubus. Oh, well, there we go. I don't have to think about it right now. I can fight this guy instead. You'd want to see an NPC to let you turn on the restrictions? Yeah, but what's that going to get you? Because no one else is going to be playing by those restrictions. It's kind of like I talked about earlier, like part of what makes a game fun when it's multiplayer is the concept that everybody's playing by the same rules. You can make something harder for yourself, sure, and like I've done that before, okay? I used to have hardcore rules that said we can only wear gear we crafted, that we can only eat food we made, that we couldn't have floating names on at all, that we couldn't have V-bars on at all. I had rules like this, okay? So I've played with rules that made it a lot harder than it was. And yeah, it was novel. And eventually, I set all of those rules aside. Because what I realized is that the challenge itself, living till 60, is so hard as it is, that adding extra rules is only going to get me killed a lot sooner. It's not going to really help me enjoy the playthrough more. It's not really getting me any more immersed. And what it is doing is it's getting my characters killed off sooner than they have to be. And it's gimping me in ways that are not enjoyable. You know what's enjoyable in WoW? Doing a dungeon, getting some gear. Doing the dungeon the next day, getting another piece of gear. You know what's enjoyable in WoW? Grouping up with some guys in the world that you ran into and killing a bunch of elite ogres. That's the cool parts of WoW. And we haven't really been able to engage with those cool parts of WoW in hardcore at all. So for me, it's going to be nice to be able to engage with the parts of WoW that I think are really, really fun. Yeah, gear. Oh god, what it would be like to have gear. To have gear to go after, to have like the goal saying, I want to get this gear, I want to get that gear, I want to get this mace. I love that part of the game. And that's kind of one of the hard things about hardcore is that like I don't get to enjoy that part. So now, at least with like the eased restrictions with doing the 5-mans, I'm really looking forward to that. Absolutely. I think that's awesome. Yeah, and for the first run of people, same thing with being able to use the auction house. Like, God, look, like, I have 60 gold. I'd love to be able to go buy a one-handed mace so that we could tank. You know what I mean? Like, it's stuff like that. Like, is it gonna have, like, strange effects? Is it gonna make it a different kind of hardcore run? Yeah, absolutely. It's gonna be a different kind of hardcore run. You'll be able to do enchanting. Yeah, people will be able to keep enchanting, and you'll be able to get the next wand after that because you will be able to go to the auction house and buy the blacksmithing thing that you need. You know, it's going to be really good for professions. So yeah, you know, ultimately I think, like, ultimately I'm fine with it. The concept bothers me that eventually people are going to be, like, twinking out their level 1s. That bothers me a little bit. What I know for a fact is that, like, a lot of people who twink out their level 1s are still going to be dead by level 20. So ultimately, it doesn't bother me that much, you know? I could grab one of these items while we're over here. That could be something that we get done. Yeah, it's their prerogative, right, exactly. Like, but the thing about being in a multiplayer space is that some people will argue that because other people are able to do that, it deteriorates their own efforts when they don't do it. Yeah, but ultimately, when it comes to stuff like that, that's fine. I still think a lot of characters who are level 1 twinks are going to be just as dead by level 20 as a character with nothing. So, especially depending on, like, who's controlling the character is obviously going to matter the most. Not that they have a level 1 best in slot weapon, but who's actually at the keyboard is going to be the difference. And if it's someone with skill at the keyboard, that's going to make their run easier. And if it's someone at the keyboard that doesn't have skill in hardcore, then they're going to be just as dead by level 20 as if they had a trash sword on the ground at level 1. Blood Moon, thank you. Thank you for being here. We have some family in town this week too, so I totally understand. Exactly, Marlena, gear can't always save you from a bad pull. Yep. If you're a reckless player, you're probably still going to die. If you're a careful player, you'd probably live with or without the gear, but the gear is going to make your life a little bit easier, and it's going to make your run more enjoyable, right? If I could buy some weapons and hit harder at certain points in this playthrough, it would have been very, very much good for me to be able to go to the auction house, spend some of our gold, and actually have a weapon that we want. Ben Davies, that's totally your opinion, man. That's totally your opinion. And when you can link me to a playlist of you getting a character all the way to 60, I'll care about that opinion more. But you're allowed to have that opinion. You're just not allowed to have it be correct or have it apply to anybody but you. Yeah, you have the YouTube playlist? Shoot me a link, my man. And that's fine, you know, and like I said, the important part though, is that even if you have like 7 level 60s, your opinion on how hard it is doesn't apply to everybody. It just doesn't apply to anybody but you. That's the cool thing about opinions. Again, you can keep stating your opinion, man, and that's fine. I don't necessarily disagree with you. However, what you say is not unilaterally correct across all people. Some people find it very hard to stay safe. Some people find it very hard. So yeah, you're allowed to feel that way. It just doesn't apply to everybody. You're not trolling? Oh man, I know you're not trolling. And you'll know that I know you're trolling because I'll start trolling you. Absolutely. I love it though. One of my favorite things is when somebody has an opinion and they try to apply it to everybody. It's one of my favorite topics. Yeah, Ben, you're right. People get bored and they rush, but that's what's hard, man. You just said it. You just nailed it. You just fucking nailed it. Look, you figured it out. It's hard. It's hard because it's hard to pay attention. It's hard to go slow. It's hard to be alert all the time. It's hard to be careful. Yeah, you nailed it. You just busted your own argument, basically. The things that you listed are very hard for people to do, it turns out. They're probably really easy for you to do. That's why it probably doesn't make sense to you. You know, you're probably sitting there like, damn, people be stupid. All you gotta do is go slow. Like, well, that's good that you have those innate qualities that let you see that right away. But yeah, other people, you know, can be reckless. A lot of things can happen in the game. Sometimes 5 mobs just respawn on you, and you don't really know what you could have done. Yeah, patience is a skill, because patience, especially today, is something that has to be honed. It has to be developed over time. People are not innately born with patience. See little kids. Like, you literally have to develop patience. It is a skill. Now, like any other skill, a human being may inherently have more or less of it than another. So if you are just a person who is inherently like super patient and super cautious all the time, then you might feel that something is easy. Whereas for somebody else, it's going to be hard. And that's why I'm correct. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes hyperspawns drop in where they shouldn't, you know, where they just died. And you get killed. There was no chance to use skill. Exactly. And it's easy to say, well, if you went slower and you were more careful, you wouldn't have got killed by those hyperspawns. It's easy to say that, but that's not how the game works. And that's not how someone's playthrough works. It just doesn't. These pirates have a chance to drop a parrot. That's cool. I've never seen them drop a parrot. Interesting. I don't really know if I want to be hanging out here doing this quest, to be quite honest. I think we have to clear this camp to get to an item that's over here, but maybe the item is not always over here. Maybe the item is sometimes elsewhere. We got one of the items. We got the chart, so we need the orders. Oh, damn. This mage... Oh, he's gonna get lit up. Why did he think that he should AoE a bunch of casters? Isn't he gonna get lit up? This seems bad for this guy. We can't do anything to help him here. I don't feel like us coming at these guys is safe. We're gonna let this play out. And in the meantime, let's scout a little bit.
You need something?
Not particularly. Oh, he backed off or what? Yeah, he backed off. The item's not there. Yeah, Ra, I don't see the... I think the item must have spawned at the other camp, because, yeah, I don't see it here. Let's look inside the tents a little bit better, I guess. Yeah. I'm not seeing it. I think it must be at one of the other camps. Barrel of sweet nectar. I'll grab it, just to grab it. Yeah, it normally is on one of the tables. There's multiple places that it can spawn, I think. So, we'll go check out one of those. This mage, after pulling those guys in what I thought was the stupidest way to pull a bunch of casters, it actually worked out for him. So, yeah, he didn't die. It seemed like it was a little sketchy, like maybe he almost died. Yeah, I mean, surprisingly, he did a good job. He actually lived, and I thought he was dead. I was sitting there trying to decide if there's any way we could save him. And I'm glad he saved himself, because I don't think we could have. Let's see. Is the item here and I'm not seeing it? I don't know. What I do know is that only one of us is going to get the item if it is here. So it doesn't really... It doesn't behoove me to try to trust this horde guy at all. I'm going to go after this swashbuckler instead. Joe, I could have healed him, and then I could have had aggro from 3 other casters and an imp. So yeah, no, I wasn't going to heal him unless A, he was literally about to die, and B, he'd have had to have one of them dead by then. If he had one of them dead and he was about to die, then I was hanging out because, you know, I could have healed him. Yeah. I wasn't going to heal him with what he did when he did it. He was not going to get a heal from me. I've been playing this character for over 100 hours, and I don't need a bunch of warlocks dropped on me. So yeah. There's lots of things I could have done. But ultimately, at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my character alive. That's what I have to do. That's the only thing I have to do. Yeah, let's use all of our mana healing him, and then we get a bunch of aggro. Right, exactly. Nah. I've saved people, and if I thought we were in a spot to save him and he needed it, then I probably would have. But not unnecessarily. That would have been an unnecessary save, you know? Joe, that statement might be true but irrelevant. Sometimes, Joe, I think you like, sometimes I like you, man, but sometimes I think you're like a low-key troll. Very low-key, and I like you, so I say that in the kindest possible way. But I think I probably should say it. Since I've thought it a couple times, and I'm usually pretty honest, sometimes I think you kind of low-key troll me, and I like you, so I'm kind of okay with it. But you also know that past the point of stupidity, I will call you out eventually. Kind of like I've had to do now. The item is there on the table. That's cool. Will we get in there and get it? Maybe not. You guys can blame Joe for trolling me low-key. Okay, yeah, guys, I see an item here on the table, but what the problem is that I don't seem to be able to click it, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? It doesn't seem to be active in the way that you would want an item to be. To be able to click on it. It does look good though, except for the weird clipping through the table, that's a little bit weird. Oh, this dude got it. He's like, snatch. I'm like, I can't click it, question mark. Was that the charts? Maybe that's the one that I already had. Yeah, that must have been the charts, guys. It had to be another copy of the charts. That's all I can think of. Because, yeah, that guy could click it, so it was an interactable item, but we couldn't get it for some reason. Yeah, there's a couple different places it can spawn, guys. Yeah, it's unfortunately it's not locked down to just that camp. That's the problem. Like, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, it could be here, but it's not here right now. We can go back in and have another look around. And in fact, we need these guys anyway, so let's do that. I've peeked inside the tents, and it wasn't inside the tents. It's probably just a matter of waiting. The orders look like a letter. Yeah, like a folded letter. We're gonna get a big heal here, and then we'll be fine with this, I think. Oh, you locked us out of everything. Oh, that was super cool of you. How did you do that without a shield, though? Awesome. Let's get another big heal off, apparently. Okay, they disarmed us. That's a good time to get another heal off. And then, like, maybe one day we'll put some damage into this guy. I don't know. Maybe not. Joe, they announced the rules for the server. You can, if you go to Wowhead, you can check out the article where Blizzard talks about and explains all of the hardcore rules on the official server. They don't have a date yet, so no dates. But the rules have been posted. And we talked about them a little bit earlier, so I'm not going to recant them. Yeah, these guys are level 43, and like ideally and realistically, I probably don't need to be fighting them. Okay, so this is the charts that we're seeing. I can't click on that either. Looking inside the tents, I see nothing inside the tents. Looking outside the tents, I see nothing, so I think it's spawning somewhere else. Let's have a look at the map. I thought there was one more spot it could spawn up by like a tent. One of the tents to the north of us. Ah, yes, we get dismounted in the water. I forgot about that, actually. We grabbed the charts out of the boat. We grabbed the charts right here, and now the charts keep respawning in the camp. So we're seeing the charts over and over again, but we're not seeing the letter yet. Yeah, that's the problem. I'm going to try to pull the swashbuckler without the mage. Let's back him way up. The charts were on the boat when I grabbed them. We'll get it eventually. There's quite a few players around here, surprisingly. He resisted the hammer of justice. What a jerk. And while we were disarmed, oh my gosh. I'm really glad that we pulled him way back. I think so too, Marky. I thought maybe the letter could spawn up here. We haven't seen it yet. And unfortunately right now we got lots of warlocks around that. If I don't have to fight these warlocks, I really don't want to. Repentance? Yeah, we wouldn't be at level to use it yet. We wouldn't be able to get it yet, would we? I guess maybe if I put all my points into Ret, we'd still have to be level 50. We've got, well, we got 5 points in Holy. Yeah, it might be useful here, you know, for the warlocks especially. I don't really want to fight them. Looking from back here, I don't... Oh shit, it is there. Only one of us is gonna get it. That's the messed up thing. Like, I could wait for him to pull this and I could go in, but it's gonna despawn if that happens, you know what I mean? And like, I could be ruthless and try to time it so that we swoop in, but that feels like extra bad to me. Yeah. Like, I could take this guy out. Oh shit. This is looking really awful. Like, I don't even want to deal with these guys, you know what I mean? I don't even want to deal with one warlock. I definitely am not going to deal with two warlocks. I'm gonna wait until someone clears it. I'm not gonna ninja the item. I just want someone to get in there and loot it. Once they get in there and loot it, it can appear somewhere else. I'd rather have it appear down at the actual camp than to have to fight these warlocks. Cause watch, I mean the warlocks are gonna kick our ass. Like, that's just what's gonna happen. You've got a minion shooting fire, and then you've got a mage shooting shadow. So like, yeah, you're gonna get annihilated. If we take 2 fireballs and 2 shadow bolts and then we take another round of that, we're dead. So, yeah. If someone goes in, I can't communicate in any way. See, wouldn't it be cool if I could group up with some people right now? Wouldn't that be cool? If we just play World of Warcraft and we jump into a group together and we clear this, like, that'd be great. That's not what's gonna happen. Instead, what's going to happen is that the quest item is going to languish because we can't take this, and no one else wants to try. We got a lot of level 2s dropping in Elwyn Forest. What's going on with the level 2s? Why are we dropping our level 2s here? To a Defias Thug. Okay. Great. Yeah, Mike, currently using the made-up hardcore add-on and the made-up hardcore rules, there's no grouping. But Blizzard announced their rules today for their upcoming servers, and they did not list any restrictions to grouping, and they did not list any restrictions to the auction house or to player trading. So we are gonna have a different type of hardcore coming soon. God, this is awful. If I could just communicate with him and say, like, look, you can have the item, let's clear this shit together, that would be great. But I feel like he's not going to go in. Oh, he's gonna sheep. Okay, I'm gonna help him kill this, and I'm not gonna take the item from him. Oh shit. Wait, okay, we're fine. Yeah, that's just the succubuses. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna help him fight this, and we're gonna let him have the item. He's the one who pulled it, you know, he was brave enough to pull this, so I'm gonna let him in there. And that way the item will spawn somewhere else. Did he grab it? Yeah, it's not, oh no, he didn't grab it. Is he not grabbing this letter? I don't want someone else to come by and grab it. I'm gonna give him another minute here to see if he needs this item. But he doesn't seem interested, but why would he pull these guys if he didn't need it? Shit. Yeah. Shit, he's running off. I gotta grab it, right? Guys, hey, you saw me wait, right? We saw what happened. Hey, I'm okay with that. Yeah, I did everything I could to kind of let him have it. Maybe he already has that item, and maybe he was looking for the chart, you know? That's really all I can think of, is that maybe he was looking for the chart. What do we need? We need one more swashbuckler, and we need a bunch of snuff. Yeah. The quest that we're not doing, we're not going out on the boats. So I do want to get all the snuff from the guys here. We will not be doing any of the quests to take us out to the boats. I'm not getting killed on a boat. Not on a boat. Any other way. Any other way. William Reese, welcome to the stream, man. Thanks for being here. David, nice. I like the Dr. Seuss. Yep, I should have took it there. I don't know why I didn't. Joe Goomba is super happy. We have some family in town, and he loves people. So whenever he has a new person to cuddle with or a new person to throw the toy for him, he's a super happy puppy right now. Wow, that's awesome, man. Good luck. That's awesome. Fatty, I didn't make a complete change. We're still doing some immersive series. Although, yeah, I've been recording a lot less immersive stuff. Mainly it was hardcore. I started streaming because I knew I wanted to stream when the new hardcore servers came out, but the day that I tested my streaming setup to make sure that I could do it, a bunch of people actually got into the chat. We started hanging out. We started to have a good time. And we were on the Paladin, so I just started streaming the Paladin and never kind of went back. And since hardcore has been my focus, I've been focused on this playthrough a lot. If I weren't doing hardcore, I probably would stream less. But especially now that we're on the stream with the character, I kind of want everything to be on stream. I'm glad you're liking the content though. Some people don't really like the streams; they have a different vibe, and I totally get that. They do have a different vibe. Andrew, welcome, man. Thank you for the membership. Thanks for being here. Yeah, and like my example of this is like I like to watch Christopher Odd. He's like one of my favorite YouTubers. I like watching his immersive stuff, and I hate watching his streams. Sometimes he plays a really awesome game on his streams, and I get annoyed because I'm like, oh yeah, Chris Odd. I love his recorded videos, but I don't really enjoy the streams. So I totally get it. I have people tell me, you know, that the vibe is different. So I do understand. Because I have a direct example of that for myself, of someone who I love the recorded stuff, but I bounce off their streams. I'm really trying to not fight mages. We could probably farm this up a little bit quicker if we wanted to fight some of the warlocks, but I really don't want to. We do have exorcism. I could blast the imp, and I could probably take a chunk of its HP with the one hit. Yeah, that was actually pretty good. That was a waste. I shouldn't do Seal of Crusader on the imp. That's a waste of a judgment. That was not well thought out. I am gonna catch a heal here. Good night, Gracie. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, the imps aren't very tough. Yeah, I guess I don't really need to be afraid of them. Anything with a pet is really intimidating to me. A lot of times the pets have like the same amount of HP as a normal mob, so I get kind of worried whenever we're taking on a pet. Now, I don't know if the succubuses, if they're going to have the same amount of HP or if they're going to be stronger or weaker. But yeah, it's the swashbucklers that are hard to deal with, man. They deal a lot of damage to us. And they seem to have like either a high dodge or a high parry or something, because we don't seem to do a lot of damage to them. Yeah, they're parrying quite a bit. Yeah, Joe, we're gonna finish this character even if the official hardcore comes out. If the official hardcore comes out and we're still on this character, we'll just have we'll have 2 shorter streams a day. Instead of 1 longer stream, we'll have to break up our time a little bit. But we'll definitely be on this guy until he hits 60. Or he falls off an elevator, you know, anything could happen, I guess. Anything could happen, but ideally, yeah, we get him to 60. And, you know, I'd love to get him to 60 and either have the official hardcore servers already have been out for a little bit, or like just coming out. I'm hoping there's not like a big gap between when we finish this guy and when the hardcore servers come out, because then I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't really want to take a break from hardcore because you kind of lose, not muscle memory, you lose instincts, right? If you take a break from hardcore, I feel like you lose instincts, and like the way you play kind of reverts back to like how you might normally play WoW. Let's get a big heal here. Big heal. Okay. And now we need like a couple of crits. Yeah, because we're going to have to get another heal off if we don't get a couple of crits here. Yeah, that's another heal we're going to need. Yeah, we've seen a lot of low-level characters die today. I don't know what it is. Maybe they're all like coming on after dinner and they're kind of sleepy with like dinner belly and they just aren't paying attention. Andrew, we got the list of restrictions today from Blizzard. If you go to Wowhead, they actually have an article that they explain all the changes, all the restrictions on the official hardcore servers have been laid out for us today. And they didn't say anything about limiting groups, and they didn't say anything about limiting the auction house, and they didn't say anything about limiting trades. So yeah, they are not going to stop us from grouping, which I think is fine. So many other things are different, you know, it's going to be a different kind of hardcore experience. But that doesn't mean it's going to be a worse one. I feel like in a lot of ways, it's going to probably be better. I'm trying to see it all positively. You know, that's really all I can do. He grabbed that guy quick. Yes, he did. Left us with the warlock. Yeah, I mean, parts of the experience might be a little easier. I think that honestly, it's just going to feel a little bit more like normal classic WoW. And it's probably going to be more enjoyable for a lot of people. And I think it will create situations where people might be able to live through stuff that they wouldn't in a solo self-found run, because, you know, buying a little bit of gear is going to help out a little bit. But it's not going to win hardcore for you. Even if you manage to go buy like a full set of blues, yeah, it's going to make some content easier. You could still get killed in a full set of blues, you know. Yeah, being able to group up to take on elite villages, being able to group up to take on named guys. Oh, this guy, he snagged him from me. That was a little rude. It was a little bit rude. At least help me kill him, maybe. There we go. Yeah, I think like opening up the grouping is a good thing. It's not the same kind of hardcore. It's not solo self-found. Yeah. But we should have kind of expected that. You know, the last time that they did the hardcore thing was in the Season of Mastery. They put a little buff on your character, and if you died, the buff went away. And that was really all that it was. So the fact that they went in and they did make some actual changes to the server, you know, that's actually good. Yeah, I'll enjoy being able to group with people. I think that'll be awesome, and we'll have a better time with the leveling curve, being able to work in the elite quest, not having to miss out on all of that experience, on all of those items. It's going to be better. And there are going to be people who hate it, and there will be people who say that it's not hardcore. There will be people who, you know, they don't go do it. I don't know if that means they stay on Bloodsail Buccaneers or Hydraxian Waterlords. I don't know. But I'm fine with it, yeah. I'm a little bit annoyed that that the bubble hearth rule was still called out. That really annoyed me, but that was the only thing that really bugged me. I'm super excited to be able to do more dungeon content, yeah, absolutely. At least up through like Zul'Farrak. You're a little bit worried about gold farming taking over. Okay, but like, maybe I don't know enough about gold farming to know. Guys, you see my screen is flashing red as if I'm... Oh, maybe it's not. No, it is flashing red. No, I'm not imagining that, am I? Why is my screen flashing red? I'm not in combat and I'm not low HP. Let's go into systems for a second. I'm gonna have to take a look at this. I can't have that flashing at me like that. Now I have no idea. Do not flash on low health. There we go. And then we'll uncheck it, and then we should be fine. There we go. I think we're okay. Yeah, I could have reloaded UI. Absolutely. Yeah, the PvP change is really good. It basically stops people from griefing in the way that they've been griefing so far. Yep, it makes it so that if you don't queue up for PvP, you cannot accidentally hit another player and flag yourself. Like, which is how it always should have been. You never should have been able to accidentally attack a stealthed enemy or an enemy's pet when you're not flagged and have it flag you. Like it was already idiotic. Yeah. So like that's really good that they put that in. That's awesome. It's going to prevent most griefing. There are obviously still ways to grief. You know, there are ways for like faction members to grief each other just by kiting a bunch and dropping a bunch of mobs on somebody. But it will cut out, you know, one of the big pain points of griefing. There will always be ways for people who want to grief, but this will help. Yeah, you won't automatically get flagged by certain quests that used to flag you. And again, same thought there. Like I always thought, like, well, why? Why does this quest have to flag me? What is the point of it? And so yeah, that they were able to go in and change that stuff is really awesome. So I'm completely okay with the grouping. I'm fine with the auction house and trading. Yeah, it's good. Mark, exactly. Yeah, you'll know on the official server, you'll know that the people around you haven't died yet. Yeah. Whereas here, you know, we don't know if people... We do like /who 60, and a lot of the people who are 60, they did not complete the challenge. You know, they're just people who have a level 60 character. They might have had it from before hardcore, they might have leveled it during hardcore, but yeah. How many people around are actually, you know, one life characters? On Bloodsail Buccaneers, we don't know. We don't know because people can res. We've seen people res, you know. I remember when we were on the Druid, we saw a Hunter res, like, right next to us. We died in a similar spot a couple minutes later, actually. But yeah, people definitely res, and on the official servers, they won't be able to do that. I think that will limit a lot of engagement with the mode, with the server. The cool thing they did to counteract that was they're letting people take their dead character and send it to a different server. Now, they're probably not going to offer you like a super good server to transfer your character to, right? You're probably going to end up like on a lower pop realm. But the cool thing about that is in Classic Era, they have their servers clustered together, so you can actually see people who are playing on other servers. So even if you end up going to like a low population realm, there will still be people to play with. Yeah, you can have a community of ghosts around you. Right. It's kind of cool. I like that they give you the option of just leaving it as a ghost or transferring it off. You know, some people don't want to do that, so... Some people don't want to just have a ghost, they want to keep on with the journey. And on Bloodsail Buccaneers right now, people keep on with the journey, but then you don't know like who around you is still doing the challenge, because there are some people who die and they say, no, I put 200 hours into this character and I very much am going to keep playing it. And I think that happens a lot, especially when you get into this level range. I think sometimes people die and they're just super attached to the character, and they don't want the journey to end. And that's understandable. I would like to, Clint, I'd like to have an ability where we can like turn it on and like see the ghost. That would be really cool, some kind of like spectral sight. That if you click it on, you can see if there are any like ghost characters around you. That would be pretty cool. I don't think I'd want it to be on like all the time. But it would be cool to be able to flip it on and off. Absolutely. Okay, we're going in on this. We have gotten like 0 hits off on this Warlock. Somehow we've missed, like every swing is missed. It's been pretty depressing. Yeah. Well, that was really helpful. A level 60 human warrior just helped us. Here, do you want might? Can I check your hardcore tab? Can you come back, please? Oh, they're gone. They're gone. Your cat keeps trying to punch the imps and succubi on the TV. That's awesome. You know, if you ever get infested by demons, your cat is going to be the one to let you know, because he's going to be punching the person that's like that's got the demon in them. So pay attention to that in the future. It could save you from ending up at the bad end of a horror movie. Yeah, if your cat punches anybody you invite over, just tell them to get out. Like, listen, my cat punches demons and demons only. I want you to leave. That's hilarious. Huh. These guys are actually awful to fight. With all the damage they do and the disarms, I actually think that these guys are worse than the mages. Which is kind of counterintuitive. But yeah, this guy just like beat the crap out of us. It's giving the demon a high five. Cats are demons. I mean, I'm not a cat person myself. I can't say much more than that. To be fair, I'm not a cat person because I'm very allergic to cats. cats, in my adult life, cats are one of the few things that can really, really get my allergies and my asthma going. Most other things don't do it anymore, but cats, I'm still really, really allergic to. And unfortunately, like, growing up, my mom felt that we should have at least 2 cats, maybe 3 cats at all times in the house. And both my dad and I were, like, always very allergic, you know, but we always had these cats. And so I thought, like, life was just kind of misery because your allergies were bad all the time. And then when I moved out and I didn't have cats, and I realized how my life didn't have to suck every day, I had a little bit of angst about having to grow up around 3 indoor cats with the allergies that I had. I had a little bit of angst about it. Once I realized that I could actually live in a place where I could breathe normally and feel normal most of the time. So yeah, I you know, I don't like cats, but I have physical reasons and emotional trauma reasons why I don't like cats. I'm definitely a dog person at this point. PJZ, thank you for being here. I appreciate you hanging out. We'll probably get this level in like 6 more kills, maybe 7. Yeah, I don't blame my mom for a lot in life, but I blame her for the cats because no one else wanted them and she wouldn't get rid of them. And if one died, she'd replace it. And you know, she took me to the doctors every week to get those allergy shots in my arm. Because I was so allergic that they needed to like give me shots to kind of, they subject you to like some of what you're allergic to kind of build up your tolerance when it's so bad. And yeah, we still have cats, so good times. My dad would take a stand at rabbits. When she tried to bring like a rabbit into the house, he was deathly allergic to rabbits, and he would say no. Get the rabbit out. But he allowed for the cats. I guess you gotta like pick your battles. I would have battled for the cats because the cats made life miserable. It's hard to like express yourself, you know, when you're a kid though. You don't really know how to like kind of explain the extent of your misery. And you don't really know that like your misery is only being caused by these animals. You just kind of live in your miserable little life with all your allergies. I don't like this. I'm gonna do this. This is a bad place to be. We did not kill this succubus anywhere near quickly enough. She just didn't die. I'm feeling like our luck in this little area is kind of running out. That's kind of what I feel like. Yeah, Clint, exactly. Yes, if there are cats, if I walk into a house today that there is a cat that lives in it, no matter how clean the house is, no matter if it's 1 cat or 3 cats, no matter how big the house is, I will know there's a cat because I will feel it in my nose and in my throat immediately. There's nothing you can really do about it, you know. Even if you get one of like the $1,600 hypoallergenic cats, when it triggers your asthma, it's always going to do that. That's the shitty thing about it. I can't even just like take Zyrtec every day and be fine. I'm gonna survive, but it's not gonna be fine. And that's why we can't have cats. And like, I don't think I hate them. When I meet a cat, the cats immediately like me. I think it's because they know I'm allergic. Yeah, Elon, that kind of treatment works to an extent. Like, I feel like it did help me with, like, my outdoor allergies. Like, I don't have a lot of big outdoor allergies now. Probably because of that treatment. But what I do have still are, like, cat allergies never went away. And if it were just the allergy part, it'd be fine. But it's, like, it's asthma triggering. And it's one of the few things left in my life that really triggers my asthma. So, yeah, cats are basically my kryptonite, essentially. Like, yeah, they trigger my asthma, which, like, for someone who's asthmatic, that's the worst thing. Like, it's the thing you don't want, you know? Especially when you've gotten to a point in your life when, like, you have that under control. And to have something so effortlessly, like, just set it off, like, is crazy. I feel like the succubuses are the worst ones. I feel like if we're going to go after the warlocks, we have to go after the ones that have imps. Because the succubus, I mean, They're gonna kill us eventually. We probably just need to not fight them at all. How about the crabs? I can fight the crabs. I don't have to fight just the guys. I mean, we need snuff. The crabs are not gonna drop that, but I'm not in a super big rush to finish the quest, so. Yeah, we'll get a little bit of a power boost at 42. I wonder what abilities we get. I need to install the add-on that tells us what abilities we're going to be training next, because I don't know if 42 is a level that's like, is it worth it to go all the way back to Stormwind? That I don't know. Hey, there we go. Andrew, the air in St. Louis is bad too. It's been really bad here in Michigan where I'm at as well, so I'm sorry to hear that, man. Yeah, my chest feels heavy when I'm outside in like a weird way that is like totally unnatural. And so yeah, it's been a shit show. Yeah, we missed out a couple weeks ago when the air got really bad on the East Coast, like Michigan. Like we had a pressure front and the lakes kind of funneled it around us, but we got hit by it this time. I think we had like the second worst air quality in the world the other day. That was great. Thanks, guys. Yep, level 42. Again, I'm not sure if we really want to go train right now or not. Yeah, Andrew, me too, man. Yep, I woke up at like 5 a.m. I woke up at 5, I had a slight headache, and I kind of knew like what was going on. It's like, it's scary to think about that. Like, I am breathing shit in that is affecting my body in such a way that I'm getting a headache. Like, it feels wrong, you know? It's miserable. We got all the windows shut now, and the fan on the AC is going to try to like pull things through the filter. Is the idea that the air at least gets filtered a little bit before it enters the house. But it sucks because, you know, I hate running the AC when the temperature is fine, and the temperature's been fine. It's not super hot out. It's just that, you know, there's smoke in the goddamn air, and you can't breathe it normally. Blood Moon, it hasn't affected my asthma necessarily, and I've hit my inhaler a couple of times thinking that it's gonna help. But it doesn't help, because what's happening is like, it doesn't trigger the asthma, it just makes breathing suck in general. It's like, I've hit the inhaler thinking that it was going to make any difference, and it's like, oh yeah, that's not what this is. I think for people that have like really, really bad asthma that's bad all the time, it probably just makes their life a lot more difficult, you know what I mean? Like for me, where like my asthma isn't going to get triggered most of the time, then like, I'm just suffering like anybody else would suffer. I don't think I'm suffering necessarily anymore. I think if anything, like having the inhaler to hit sometimes probably helps me a little bit. Yeah, Alex, if you find out, man, let me know if it's worth it. I don't think that 42 is going to be a big level. Basically, like anything with a damage increase. So like a seal rank or a judgment rank. Do we even have judgment ranks? Is that not even a real thing? That doesn't even sound like a real thing. It's not. We need a seal rank basically or maybe like a Blessing of Might rank would get us some more DPS. Oh yeah, Clint, if I'm near someone who's smoking like a cigarette or something, yeah, that's super bad. I would not. I couldn't be around somebody doing that without that affecting me. Absolutely, that would suck, for sure. This is like low key that, but all the time. It's like there's like an amount of smoke in the air. It's a bad amount, and it's there all the time now, and you just can't get away from it. Mark, how long have I been streaming today? Yeah, we talked about the hardcore stuff. Yeah, the announcement of the hardcore restrictions. We talked about that a little bit earlier. Yeah, I probably should get an air purifier. This kind of stuff makes me think about spending the money. You know, it's like, it's a money thing. You know, the good ones are expensive, so I don't like spending money on like cheaper stuff that's like not gonna last as long and not be as good. If I get something like that, that's like a piece of technology, I like to get the good one. But the good one's usually pretty expensive, so yeah, but probably need something soon, especially if I hate to say it, but if like the forest fires and stuff are gonna be just a trend that continues. If I'm gonna be seasonally affected chronically by horrible air quality, then yeah. In that world, there's a lot of stuff that I would do that I wouldn't do in the normal world that I've been living in until this year. You know, like, yeah, investing in like air filters and stuff like that now seems like super important. Running the AC and running the HVAC fan when I wouldn't, now I have to run it, you know. It's like, yeah, unfortunately, like, yeah, it's gonna change like how a lot of people live their lives if like it keeps up like this. That's not a bad point, Andrew, just to put like a filter over the fan that's pulling like air in. Like, yeah, we have a couple of window fans that I like to use when it's not hot enough to run the AC. I have some nice window fans I like to put in, and those are good. But yeah, when the air is full of smoke, it's like I can't use the window fans anymore and be okay with like sucking that stuff into the house. But yeah, if you had a filter over the fan, you could easily like concoct something that could help a little bit. Definitely. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into some like different breathing options. Yeah, how do I make the air breathable? Never really used to have to worry too much about it, but apparently now it's a thing that we have to worry about in most parts of the world. To be fair, there have been some parts of the world where they've always had to worry about breathing air. Like, you know, in like downtown places in China or even places like Tokyo where like just the smog from like cars and pollution has always been so bad that they've had to wear masks outside sometimes. Like, there have been places that have had always like chronically bad air quality. But, you know, not a lot of places in the United States have been like that. And now we're getting to a point where they are. Yes, India. Yep. I always forget that India's big cities are actually also really, really bad when it comes to air quality. Yep, so there have been places like that in the world. They've been that way, but it's like it hasn't been from like forest fires typically. It's been from just pollution, smog, waste. So yeah. It's a brave new world. Yeah, China is always bad. Down places in like Japan, big cities in Japan have been bad. I'm sure Los Angeles, yeah, with all the cars, everybody having to drive. But that's like a different kind of smog, you know. It's not like the particulates from burned wood literally getting into the air, getting into your lungs, and then getting into your bloodstream. When the particles are so small that they're getting into your bloodstream, that's when we have a lot more problems than just, oh, it's kind of hard to breathe, or the air tastes nasty, or I have to wear a mask. When shit's getting into your bloodstream, that's gonna affect like your cardiovascular health overall. And it's probably gonna affect people like over time. Even if it were to go away today, like I feel like it has to just affect you over like the long term as well. Yeah, exactly, Andrew. Over time, it could do all sorts of damage to your body. Yeah, and the thing is, when you just watch the nightly news or you just read a news clipping about what's going on, they're like, yeah, the air is dangerous. Avoid it. And you're like, okay, what happens if I don't avoid it? And they're like, it's not healthy for you. But like, no one wants to give you the nitty-gritty details on the shit that can happen to your body because of it. Because what they don't want is they don't want people to panic. They don't want people to panic, so they tell you that it's not good. They give you some ways to help yourself, but they don't really throw out all of the information about what could happen if it keeps up for a long time. That's important information to have, but nobody readily gives it to you. Isn't air pollution consistently one of the big killers of a population? We wouldn't know, Auntie. They don't tell us what it does to us long term. Sure, air pollution could be the reason behind most forms of cancer. We don't know. They're not, if that's true, they're not going to tell you. Blessing of Might 5 I need. Cleanse, Flash of Light 4 could be good. Seal of Righteousness 6 we're not using. Seal of Crusader we are using most of the time. Yeah, it's almost worth it to go back for Might, right? The Message in a Bottle quest, I haven't seen an active... Oh shit, is this one active? It is. The Message in a Bottle quest is going to send us to fight a giant elite gorilla. So, while I could swim out there and do the first part and talk to the Tauren lady, I don't know if I can do the follow-up. Because that's going to be... Yeah, that's going to be an elite. I'm pretty sure it's going to be an elite. It's a gorilla the size of a house, and this is classic era. So, like, I have a hard time believing they put a gorilla in the size of a house and have it not be an elite. Yeah, I have to feel like he's an elite. Maybe he's not. If he's not, guys, let me know. We'll head out there and take a look eventually. I don't think I'll run out there now and do it, but... And he's level 50? Yeah, sure. There are stealth panthers near the gorilla too. Yeah, also bad for us. Yeah. I don't know if I'll be going out to that island. I don't think that we will. Is this guy's imp all the way out here? That's his imp all the way out here? That's a little bit weird. He resisted. Oh, what a jerk. This is going to be a tough one. He resisted my Hammer of Justice. Oh, God. Here we go. We got to get a big heal here. Yeah, this is... this is called not being safe. Yeah, this is called not being super safe. Shadow Resist Aura. That is smart. Clint, good call out, man. Yeah. Shadow Resist Aura. Hell, even Fire Resist for the Imps would have been smart. Anything probably would be better against these guys than Devotion or Red Aura. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to try to solo the gorilla. It needs some form of CC. Yeah. Shizum, what we're doing right now is we're judging Seal of the Crusader, then we're using Seal of Command. Crusader gives us a little bit bonus holy damage when we get holy damage. Seal of Command only has a chance to give holy damage. I kind of liked using this more when we were using Seal of Righteousness. But we have a slow weapon, so people say I want to use Seal of Command. I'm not sure how effective Crusader is pairing it with Seal of Command. It's much better pairing it with Righteousness, because Righteousness you get the holy damage on every swing. And Command, you only get the holy damage some of the time. Clint, people have told me with a slow weapon do Seal of Command, and I don't know what the rationale has been. I've just had many people tell me it. It could be wrong, you know, like so many. Also, there are so many different versions of the game when we're talking about Vanilla era or Wrath of the Lich King era or Retail era, that there are so many different versions of the game that even when somebody tells me something that ends up being wrong, I often assume they're just thinking of the wrong version of the game. Inevitably, we'll probably go back to trying a build with Righteousness, and we're going to do the other aura. What aura was it? I'm going to do a Sanctity aura build, where we use Seal of Crusader and Seal of Righteous. So that'll probably be the next time we respec. We'll probably spec out of Seal of Command, we'll spec into Sanctity aura. And then we'll judge Crusader, and then we'll use Seal of Righteousness. We'll probably go back to that soon. Because I want to try Sanctity Aura. Clint, what you say makes sense, but so it made sense also when other people told me the opposite. That's the thing. And I haven't done any research myself, and we've tried a few different builds, and we'll probably try a few different more before the playthrough is done, just to kind of keep things fresh. I don't like Seal of Command very much myself at all, because I don't like things that are a chance. I like the sure thing that's gonna happen every swing. So yeah, I've tried Seal of Command. This is the second different build we've done with it, and yeah, it's okay. We'll probably be spec'd out of it soon and doing something different. I want to do a prot spec, but we haven't got a one-hander. So yeah. I appreciate the perspective though. Dan, I think a lot of people like to play it that way. I think, you know, especially in hardcore, it just is a lot more survivable. That's what I wanted to try out. I wanted to see, like, how much bulkier we are with a shield. Understandably, the combat's going to be slower. But then, like, situations when we have to take on multiple guys, I feel like we could fight 2 guys at once as a prop heli, and that wouldn't be as big of a problem. So, I'm kind of interested in trying it. Will we ever get a one-hander to drop? So far we have not. Another good thing about being able to run multiple dungeons is if we could farm dungeons, then we could get some items in the future. That would be super awesome. Yeah, we would respec prot. Yeah, I don't know if I would go one-hand shield as our current spec. If we go one-hander and shield, then I'm gonna go prot. Yeah, we'd have to respec for that. Oh shit, what is going on up here? I don't like this. It turns out that I hate it. It turns out that I hate whatever's happening behind us. And I wish it would go away. Okay, it's going away. That's perfect. Yeah, that was not... This is not welcome. This is not welcome. Oh, we've got a Skull Tauren fighting a Skull Elite. I would definitely be fine taking on 2 at a time if we were prot spec. If we had decent gear, we'd have to have decent gear. And I think right now our gear mostly sucks. That's the elite for Stoli shipment? Yeah, I think so too. The sea giant that walks along the coast. Killing things will take 1,000 years as a prop heli? Yeah, it'll take a little bit longer. We don't have like a super fast kill rate anyway, and eventually we're just going to be in places that are very, very dangerous. I'm thinking about places like Plaguelands, and even places like Fellwood and Winterspring, Ungoro Crater. I keep thinking about all these like really dangerous places, and I'm like, yeah, being prot spec and just having a bunch more survivability would be very welcome in those places. This guy just locked me out of my holy spells in the middle of a heal. How pro was that? These guys are tough. Andrew, that's not a bad point. So your theory is that, you know, if we're killing stuff slower, we could see more respawns come up around us. And yeah, that's not wrong. What I'm kind of counting on is, like, as we get into those higher level areas, there will be a big drop off in the amount of other people around. And I'm kind of hoping that the drop off in the amount of other people will kind of chill the respawn rate out a bit. Obviously, this area is not a good example. There is a pretty high respawn rate here. And there's pretty high, like, amount of characters here right now. But I'm kind of thinking that, eventually in, like, the level 50s, that probably won't be the case, so... Blood Moon, we did a little bit in Tannerus the other day. I think it might have been yesterday. I think it was yesterday. That's why we have, like, a thumbnail from it. Yeah, we did a little bit. We killed the Waste Wander guys the first round of quest. And we'll be going back eventually. Yeah, we have the next Waste Wander quest, the second one. I don't know if that one would be any more of a challenge than what we're doing down here. I feel like they're very similar in level. Yeah, I can't believe he's still fighting that thing. That's, that takes a lot of nerve. I feel like, won't the giant eventually resist the roots? Won't he just grow a resistance to the roots and then he won't be rooted anymore? Does that not happen when you see something over and over again? I thought it eventually wouldn't work anymore. Roots does not have diminishing returns. That seems OP. Are we allowed to roots hearth? Can we roots hearth? Because roots hearthing seems like a lot like bubble hearthing to me. But apparently it would be okay. You think that diminishing returns in general is only in PvP? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe. Real life any more on the Night Elf run? Yeah, we're gonna continue the Night Elf run. I have not been recording as much. This week especially, I have family in town. And so the amount of time I can even get on my computer is a little bit limited. I want to keep pushing this character forward. Yep, eventually the Night Elf will go through Teldrassil. I'm going to do Teldrassil, Darkshore, and Ashenvale for sure. I'm planning to complete those zones, full playthrough of those on the Night Elf Priest. But I'm just not rushing it. I'm not in a super rush, and I've had just limited time this week. I really hate it when they're so far away from each other. Now look, the succubus have a lot more HP than the imps. The imps go down pretty quick. The succubuses go down less quick. They have more HP. Definitely. We could do some shadow resist. I should be leaving that on probably. Healing there was a bad idea, but we'll be fine. I think we need one more item. And, oh wait, we got the item. We can get out of here. Yeah, let's absolutely get out of here. Yeah, the imp, we could take half of its HP with a single exorcism cast, and that was not happening with the succubus. And with this one done, I really don't know what we want to do next. We could go after Pretty Boy Duncan. I don't think he's an elite. And he's hanging out somewhere back this way. Let's go check that out. There are going to be pirates over there too to fight as well, but they should be like level 40, 41. And yeah, we'll see if we can find him. We'll see if we can kill him. Maybe he is surrounded by a bunch of guys or something. I don't really know. But it doesn't seem to mark him as an elite. So we at least have to check it out. How long will I plan on playing today? I'm not sure. It's I don't do a lot of evening streams. But it is getting to the evening for me now. Right now, everyone's out doing other stuff, and they've left me the house, and I'm here by myself. Is the reason that I can be on right now. Everyone went out to see a movie, and I already did my out-of-the-house activities for today, and I have no interest in leaving the house again. So I am here, and they are all out. There are fire mages near Duncan, and guys that can root us for 10 seconds. That sounds unpleasant. They're going to see, is it Elementals? Whatever the new Disney movie is. Yeah. Whatever the new Disney flick is, Elementals, Elemental. I have no idea. I mean, I have that much of an idea. I just haven't, I haven't seen the trailer for it or anything. Let's see. Oh, here we go. This is him. Okay, so this is good because if we can get them as they spawn back in, we don't have to fight them all at once. Yeah, if it ends up being good, I'll just watch it on Disney+. Theaters are okay. I've already done my outside of the house excursion for today though, so... There's only really so much of like being out in the world surrounded by strangers that I really want to deal with for one 24-hour period. I'm honestly not much of a movie person. I don't watch a lot of movies, and when I do it, usually since I have a kid, it ends up usually being a kid's movie when I do watch a movie. Like the last movie that I saw in the theater was the Mario movie. Yes, I'm pretty sure it was the Mario movie. I don't think I've been in a theater since then. And before that was probably another kid's movie. Yeah. I guess we hang out here for a minute. Yeah, the bodies are gone, so eventually here we should see a respawn. Eventually. Someday. I have a feeling... Oh, what is this? Oh, it's a target dummy. I've never seen one actually in the world. That's cool. It looks like a box with a spring on it. Where's the dummy part? Interesting, but also a distraction that we probably don't need right now. The dummy's dead. That's why it doesn't have like an actual dummy portion to it. It's interesting that it stays on the ground in this form at all. Like, what's it doing here, and when is it gonna fade away? That's what I'd like to know. I'm gonna pretend like I'm enjoying my coffee, but just so you guys know, it's cold and it tastes disgusting, but it's the coffee that I have right now, and we have nothing better to do, so cheers. Lonnie, do we have a new weapon? No, we're still using the same weapon that we've had for a while now. This one right here. Alright, let's kill these guys as they come back up. JB asks, at least you will be able. Oh, at least you will be able to. Yes. Yeah, you're right. At least we'll be able to. I thought you were asking. Sorry. Yeah, we will be able to, and that's okay. I've come to terms with it. It's going to help us. It's going to make probably a more enjoyable playthrough for me. Because, like, on this character, I have all kinds of money, and I would love to be able to spend them on the auction house. I would love to have been able to buy copper on the auction house for blacksmithing before I dropped it. That would have been super cool. And I would have loved to have been able to sell things like the cloth that I wasn't using on the auction house. So, yeah. I'm okay with the auction house being in. I think that, you know, we have to accept the fact that after the first wave of characters, some characters are not going to have like a total fresh start, obviously. If you have like a higher level character, you'll be able to send yourself some gold and send yourself some items. If you have a friend, they will be able to send you stuff. You know, there's no restrictions on trading or auction house. It's going to change the way hardcore is played, but I don't know if that has to mean that it's going to be worse. Is first aid worth it? For a lot of classes it is. You know, most people would tell you that first aid is always worth it no matter what class you are. I tend to not focus on it when I'm on a class that has heals. I don't tend to level up first aid. That being said, you know, if you can't use the auction house, I should probably be crafting them into bandages and then selling the bandages because they'd sell for more. But, you know, when we can use the auction house, we will be able to sell our cloth to people who are interested in it. And that's nice. So far, so good. You say it kind of ruins the point of hardcore. That's an opinion. And it's your opinion, and it's okay to have that opinion. It's okay to feel that way. But keep in mind that not everybody feels that way. I don't feel that way. I feel like the point of hardcore is to not get killed. Some people feel that solo self-found is the true hardcore, and you're fine to feel that way. But that's not how it's going to be on Blizzard's server, so we're going to play with the rules that they establish. And yeah, the great thing is, if you feel like that's not hardcore enough, you'll be able to play on Bloodsail Buccaneers still and do the solo self-found run. So, you know, there's options. It's good to have options. I want to be able to do dungeons more than once. I want to be able to group up with people in the open world to do elite quest. And I want to be able to use the auction house. So I'm okay with it. It's still going to be statistically impossible to get a character to max level without dying. And to me, that's kind of the point of hardcore, is that no matter what you do, no matter what items you buy on the auction house, no matter how many times you do Scarlet Monastery Armory for the axe, it's going to be really freaking hard to live, ultimately. You know what I mean? Yeah, so, you know, it is what it is. Conguard, we'd thought about that. We had come up with a lot of things they could do. Now that they've told us what they're gonna do and what they're not gonna do, basically, now we just talk about what they're doing. You know, yeah, there's lots of options. They could have taken it any route. You know, they could have had a vendor that sold, you know, items for professions. They could have locked the auction house out completely. They could have limited the auction house to crafting materials and stuff like that. That would have made some people happy, I feel like. But they didn't restrict any of that stuff, it turns out. So yeah, it would have been cool if, maybe for some people if they had done like a little bit more restrictiveness. But they didn't. So, yeah. Yeah, Andrew, exactly. There are a lot of arbitrary rules that we play by now, and it makes it harder to live. Yep. Yeah, not being able to group up, not being able to do a dungeon a couple times for gear, not being able to use the auction. These things make it harder to live. It's not always like the difference. Ooh, that might be trash. Let's see. Yeah, that's garbage. It's not always going to make a huge difference. Like, it's not going to be necessarily a difference like all the time. But yeah, the better gear could help sometimes. The grouping up will help. So things can change with PTR. Yeah, we'll see. Things could change. I think if Blizz was going to restrict the auction house or restrict trading, they already would have talked through it. They would have had all the conversations they need to have about it by now, because that's a big thing. We've heard about all the big things at this point, I think. I don't think there are going to be any big things coming. They're not, oh, guys, we decided that we're not doing the auction house. You know, they could. They could. I just don't see that they would do it that way. They've had plenty of time to think about this stuff. They've had plenty of time to have the conversations and have the meetings. They've had the convos. They've had the meetings. You know, that's why we got this announcement today. So they've already talked at this stuff from every angle, like we have. And so, yeah, I don't think we can expect them to add a bunch more restrictions out of nowhere at this point. I think that would be really uncharacteristic and strange, honestly. Destroy the Altar of Tides with Caitlyn's blade, kill Gosbin, and bring the Stone of the Tides to Caitlyn and Caitlyn's blade back.
See you around.
Elite Quest? Elite Quest. Son of a biscuit. Okay, and see, this is where we could find a group. And we could just do the quest and get the XP and be happy. And instead we can't do any of that. We have a lot. Oh, this one we're not going to be able to do. Let's go ahead and abandon it. Up to snuff, we turn it out here somewhere. Yeah, and guys, I would not. If you're thinking like, I hope that they disable the auction house. I hope that they disable trading. I wouldn't like. I would not count on that. You know.
What's on your mind?
I would count on to have the exact restrictions that we found out about today.
Be good.
And while a few things may change in PTR, the PTR is going to be mainly making sure that the stuff works. It's gonna be making sure that the stuff that's already baked in works. They're not going to get a test of the auction house or how it affects the game. They're not going to get a test of like how player, because the PTR is going to be short and the PTR is limited to level 30. So you're only going to know how the auction house and player trading affected the environment and affect hardcore after a long time. You know, that's going to be stuff that changes the way the game is played in the future. The first run of characters are all going to be solo self-found for the most part, except for the auction house. Like, we're not going to start with the ability to twink out a level 1. So, like, how that's going to affect the player base and how it's going to affect the game, that would be tested over a long period of time. And we won't get a lot of results from, like, a PTR for stuff like that. Yeah, but let's say like even if they disabled trading, but they allowed the auction house, then like if I want to give an item to my friend, we could go to the auction house together. I could put the item up for really cheap, and he could buy it really quick. You know, so I can still give my friend stuff that I want to give him, as long as we just kind of hang out at the auction house together. Like, yeah, there's a small chance that in the fraction of a second between when, like, I put an item up and he sees it, someone else might swoop in and grab it. Maybe. They'd have to be, like, refreshing the auction house pretty constantly, looking for that exact item. But yeah, there would still, even without trading, the problem is there would still be ways to either help a friend or help an alt and stuff like that. Yeah, I feel like it's going to be fine. What are we doing next? We still have one more quest to turn in. Oh, here it is. It's right out here. Right outside. Fleet Master Seahorn wants you to kill Captain Stillwater. We are not doing that. Not for a 7 strength, 15 spirit chess piece. Absolutely not. It looks cool. It does look really cool, but I'm not going out on the boat.
Ancestors watch over you.
We are not going out on the boat. The boat is death? Yeah, absolutely. If we go onto the boat, we'll probably die. That begs the question, what do we want to do now? We could go after the goblins again. The goblins kind of sucked. What we should do, we should really go to Stormwind. And we should train. Let's go do that. Let's go train, and we can kind of contemplate on the way what we want to do, where we want to go next.
How are you? Off with you.
Okay, let's have a look at the quest here. Princess Trapped. We determined what? We determined that we didn't want to fight to the back of this cave because some of the kobolds were casters, and the kobolds run at like 30% health, 35% HP. These guys run, they take off. And we had a hell of a time killing the ones that we did kill, so we kind of put that on the back burner. Maybe we come back to it at like level 45 when we're just super strong and can rip casters up pretty easily. But we can't do it now. Coolant heads prevail. I don't know what frost oil is. Something tells me it's an item that I could probably easily get on the auction house if that were possible. Or from like an engineer vendor. It's probably like a limited time item. There's only probably so many in stock and they're probably always sold out. We probably won't get that one done either. The bracers of rock binding in the Badlands. Maybe. Down the Scarlet Path turns in South Shore, and I think it chains into the Scarlet Monastery quest. We have the Dust Wallow stuff, which might be something we could do. Good so far. Thanks for being here, man. I appreciate it. My favorite class in hardcore so far is definitely the Paladin, because it has kept us alive longer than any other class. As far like fun value, like I had a lot of fun on the Shaman before it died. I had a ton of fun on the Mage. The Mage was amazing, and I got on the Mage in a bad frame of mind to play hardcore, and I got the Mage killed. The Mage should have been the one that made it to 61st. And so like fun factor, probably the Mage or the Shaman. But for like living and consistency and safety, the Paladin has been the way to go. Lesser Bloodstone ore we could do if we wanted to go into that same Kobold cave. Singing Blue Crystals. Yeah, this stuff is too high level. I don't want to do any of that stuff. Ugh. I have no idea. I don't know what we want to do. And Alex, for that quest though, we have to kill all the bosses in all of the Scarlet dungeons, right? I don't even know if I can do library anymore. I think I might be outside of the level requirements for library. Let's see. Oh, max level 45. Okay, so we could still do it. They're all 45? That seems off. Because the levels actually like are very different. There's like level 30 to 32 guys in library, and then like level 38 to 42 guys in cathedral. But yeah, I guess we could do it. The mage's death was worse because while I got the priest killed just being stupid on the elevator, like it was a moment of stupidity. I hadn't started the recording yet for the day. I was trying to get out to the tower. I was eating and trying to walk. I got on the elevator and I just effed up. It was a stupid mistake that didn't need to happen. I'm always more upset about the mage because the mage was me being like super stubborn. I was being super stubborn and stupid over and over and over again. I had like 3 different chances to bug out and just leave it. And I was in a bad mood that day. And I got super stubborn within myself and I did not give up. And I got that mage killed. So that one bothers me a lot more. Yeah. The priest was like a fluke, it was an accident, it was stupid, it was a one-off, and like, yeah, it sucked, but for me the mage was worse. Hey Fat Ocelot, welcome man, thanks for hanging out. You can't imagine doing hardcore, you'd rage out? Yeah, I don't really rage out about stuff. Not like that, I'm not gonna rage about losing a character. I'm gonna be really disappointed in myself, and then I'm gonna go take a nap. And that's going to be about it. I might have dropped some F-bombs. I don't know if I've dropped F-bombs when we've died. I think I'll usually drop at least one customary F-bomb. But usually I'm just laughing, because you know, it's usually I got myself killed in such a stupid fashion that I can't do anything but laugh. Save the crying for off-stream, off-recording, you know. Clint says, the most rage I've seen from Robert so far is when he ranted about the RXP add-on. Absolutely. Yeah, the things that make me rage are when people are just awful human beings and do terrible things. Especially to other human beings. Yeah, there are definitely things I will rage about. But not getting myself killed. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, you'd feel like you wasted a lot of time. Absolutely. I think that a lot of people play hardcore and they get a character killed and they're like, oh no, this is not for me. I just wasted 30 hours getting to level 25 and now I'm dead. Yeah, I totally get that. For me, I've played so much WoW and I've played so many characters and so many alts. I have a good time and I don't ever feel like the time is wasted. I feel like even when the journey ends, I went on a journey with the character and the journey is the most important part for me. And so because for me it's all about the journey, when a character dies, a new journey begins. And so that's kind of how I see it. Yeah, it hurts when a character goes down. And I usually like sleep it off before I start a new one, but yeah, it's all about the journey though. It's about the journey and the crazy stuff that can happen along it, and sometimes the crazy stuff that happens is that you get killed. Yeah. Okay, here's what I want to do. I know, I've been respecking. It's gonna be 10 gold, isn't it? Ugh! Gross. Absolutely gross. Let's get that one off of there. And I want to try a Sanctity Aura build. So, we're gonna go Blessing of Might. We are gonna go Improved Seal of the Crusader, because we're gonna be using Seal of Crusader and Seal of Righteousness. So I want this one this time. I'm going to go 2 points here. We're not grabbing Seal of Command. We're going to grab our 2 points in Pursuit of Justice. We need these to survive. We are going to go Conviction, I think. Yeah, we have to get down into Vengeance, so we have to go Conviction. Let's keep going Conviction. We're not taking Improved Ret Aura, because we're going to go Sanctity Aura this time. Let's go 2 more here. What else? Let's grab 2. Well, okay. Well, no, how many more points do I need to get down here? There we go. Okay, we'll grab Sanctity Aura. And then we'll grab... Well, we need to come over here. We need to grab Divine Strength. Okay, that's good. I feel like I want this. I feel like I want this one this time around too. We do 5 here. And we gotta go here. How's that? Is Prot viable? It'd be viable for hardcore, I think, because we'd be very survivable. I don't know if it's like viable for like endgame stuff at all. It'd be a slow kill rate but high survivability. Is it worth getting into WoW now, or do I think it's a bit late? I mean, WoW's not going anywhere. It's a good time to get into World of Warcraft because you have 3 different versions that you get for your sub. So you pay your sub, you can play Classic Era, you could play Wrath of the Lich King, and you can play Retail. And all of those versions of the game are good in their own ways. So it's actually an awesome time to play WoW, because you have a lot of variety in what you can do, and you can try all versions of the game and see which one that you like. And with 3 different versions of the game, you're more likely to find a version that actually suits you. So I think it's a good time, yeah. Okay, so we need to be rocking our Sanctity Aura. I need to go here, and we need to make sure that we pull some stuff out to the bar that we need. I'm looking for Righteousness. We need to grab Blessing of Might, rank 5. Seal of Crusader, rank 5. And I think that was it, right? Hammer of Justice. Ooh, damn, look at that. Guys, we've had Hammer of Justice rank 1 on the bar the entire playthrough. Let's go ahead and swap that out. Yeah, I don't know what the difference is, except that it costs more mana. So that's fun. It's been working fine for us, even at the first rank. You know what I mean? Now I'm wondering, like, why would I want to use a higher rank? We haven't had any problems with this really missing or being resisted very often, have we? I haven't noticed it being resisted too often. It's happened a couple times, but nothing that I felt like was really out of line, you know? The duration was longer? Okay, yeah, I didn't notice that. Yeah, well, okay, yes, I see it now, yep. It's a second longer. Okay. Yeah, sure. Let's do it. I usually use it as an interrupt more than I use it as a stun. You know, I try to use it to stop casting or to stop running. But yeah, let's do that. And okay, now that's probably it. I think we're good. Yep, we're good. Alright, so where are we going? Where are we going? I wouldn't mind going to the Badlands. It'd be a little bit of a jaunt to get us over that way. It's a bit of a jaunt. We could do it though. We'd probably want to go to the Dwarven District. Is that the best way to go? Or do we just jump the flight? Could probably just jump a flight. I might jump a flight, guys. I might go get some coffee or at least some water, something to drink. So let me get us on a flight here. I think I might do that. John, yeah, I think lots of people are realizing that Classic Era has a lot to offer. It has a lot to offer, and it's a different way to enjoy WoW. That's very different than retail. It's markedly different than Wrath of the Lich King. And yeah, it's different. It's all about the journey. I think a lot of people are kind of finding that in themselves, that, you know, they get tired of endgame, they get burnt out on the grind. And then they come to Classic Era, and it really is just this long journey that you can kind of sink into and enjoy everything that happens along the way. And you don't have to be in a big rush to farm the endgame, or to get your world quest done, or to do whatever endgame players do these days. You don't gotta get all your Mythic 20s in, you know? Nobody cares. But yeah, it's been a good time. Alright, let's see how long the flight's gonna be.
What can I do for you?
We have a 5-minute and 17-second flight.
For the Alliance.
I am going to go get some liquids to replenish my body, and I recommend you guys hydrate as well. I will be right back. Thank you guys for hanging tight. I appreciate it. Stanberg, you made a hardcore priest. It's a good class. I think that you're gonna live for a long time. Whitney, hello. I am back. Yes. Had to do a little refill. Let's see. I'm cheese. Do you believe in the mud floor, Roberts? I know that I'm probably gonna regret the next several paragraphs of dialogue. However, I'm going to say, truthfully, I don't know what you're talking about. Do I believe in the mud floor? I'm not even going to interpret it. If you give me an explanation, I may or may not be able to give you an answer. I'm feeling like I might not be able to give you an answer. That's what I feel like, but I'm always curious to find out. When I read questions like that, I'm always curious if somebody is talking about something that I just don't know what it is, or if they're asking me a really silly question. Yeah, and in this case, I feel like it's just a really silly question, but you're right, it's easy to troll me with stuff like that, because part of me really wants to know if it's a thing that I just don't have any awareness of, because there's a lot of stuff in the world that I don't have an awareness of. So I always try to give it a chance, you know? But I feel like you just got me to talk about this for 2.5 minutes for nothing. Yeah. Yep, that's what happened. And you can get me to do that once, you know. Yeah. Sure. Everybody gets one. So what happens is you get one question like that, and I never forget it. I never forget that you asked me that question. And then depending on like what I feel about that question and how much you got me to talk will greatly influence the likelihood of me responding to you next time. It's real. It might be real, but it sounds like stupid bullshit to me. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know. It sounds like something that I don't need to engage with. I guess that's my point. It doesn't sound interesting. Yeah, it doesn't sound interesting to me at all. Sometimes I wish it was. Sometimes I wish even when I think I'm kind of being trolled, I often wish that the topic of the trolling was of some kind of interest to me, so I could work it to a reverse troll eventually. But this just seems like it whatever it is, it just seems like it's not interesting to me at all. That would be like it sounds like asking me like if I believe in the hollow moon theory, you know, except the hollow moon theory is probably more interesting to me than that. So, but I did talk a lot because of what you typed, and so I hope that satiates. I hope that scratches the itch. It's a lot like that, and yeah, and then in that case, I'm not going to talk to you about it. That's it. So there we go. We got there. It just took a while. You guys can have a go at it in the chat if you want to about these subjects. I'm just not going to talk about these subjects. we can boil it down to this. If it has ever been labeled or is labeled a conspiracy theory or is conspiracy theory adjacent, then I don't believe in it. Even if I find the topic of discussion intellectually interesting and like creatively interesting from an imagination standpoint, no. There is not a single theory of that sort that I've ever heard of that I have ever bothered to think I could probably believe this. No. They're all unilaterally silly and easily outthought. Dragon's Bane says dragons are real, or I need to find another profession. Right. Just as easy to believe that, yeah, as any of the other stuff, you know. That's why it's not really interesting to me, because there's no plausibility for believing any of it at all. There's lots of like cool scientific stuff, like pseudoscience stuff and like actually proven stuff that's like theoretically interesting to talk about, that for me like conspiracy theories are like super boring to talk about because there's no actual data to look at. That's all. There's just experiences and statements and opinions. It's just not intriguing. Alright, why am I back here? Ah, Earth Elementals. Level 43 Earth Elementals. We are doing a little bit of a different rotation here. I should keep that in mind. Sanctity Aura is up. Holy damage done is going to be increased by 10%. And yeah, let's get Might up, and we'll see how this goes. Oh, look, an instant spawn. Maybe, wait, why are you here? There's no other player here. Who killed you last? When did you last die? Weird. Dana, I think that there are people out there that they find the current reality that we have to live in like super boring and super static and super lame, and so instead of like accepting reality like most people have to, they decide to ascribe themselves to a different belief that is not reality. And I think I don't know if it's like out of boredom or dissatisfaction or disenfranchisement from actual reality that people do this, but yeah. There are lots of people that ascribe themselves to entire ways of thinking that are just completely wrong and can be proven to be wrong by very basic measurements that we all agree to use. So, yeah. You think it was a stealth rock elemental? It seemed like a stealth rock elemental. I've never heard of such a thing, but he did seem to just kind of appear there. That'd be kind of rude of him to be hanging out in stealth. And like, I'm kind of a person that I'd love it if some crazy shit were true about reality. I'd love to find out that some crazy shit was true about reality, but that's not really how reality works. We tend to find out things about reality that we could have guessed at before, you know? We don't tend to suddenly find out, oh damn, it turns out the Earth is actually flat. It turns out that the moon is hollow. Like, we don't, that doesn't happen. As interesting as life might be, if stuff like that was real and happened all the time, you know, that's just not how it is. Does intelligent life on other planets count as conspiracy? No, that's just something that people either believe or don't. No, believing that there's intelligent life on other planets, like, you're allowed to believe that. Yeah. I don't know that there's any way you could disprove that. That's the problem. Is like there's a thing called the burden of proof. And some people say that everything is true unless you can prove it isn't. And other people say that something is only true if you can prove that it is. So that's the burden of proof. Where does the burden of proof lie? I think it depends on what the subject is. So with shit like intelligent life on other planets, yeah, sure. Probably, maybe, why not? you know? That's not a conspiracy theory, that's kind of more like a belief. But saying some shit like the moon is hollow, or that we never went there, that's a conspiracy theory. Because we have direct evidence of reality, you know what I mean? We don't have all the evidence we need to determine whether or not there's intelligent life out there somewhere. So therefore, it can just be a belief. You either believe it or you don't. But we know the moon's not hollow. And we know we went there. So that's what kind of, to me, that's what distinguishes shit from like a belief to a conspiracy. A conspiracy is something where we can point at direct evidence to the contrary, but somebody still wants to believe it. We can point at direct evidence to the contrary, but they say, no, I believe this. That's a conspiracy theory. You know, because they think that everyone else is being lied to, and that they're right in their belief. But believing in intelligent life in the universe, that's just something that you choose to do or not. I don't think there's intelligent life out there because I think that most likely we probably would have been eradicated by now. You know what? In here, okay, let me back up. There's probably intelligent life out there. There's no interstellar travel amongst this intelligent life. I think when there's intelligent life out there, it probably reaches a point similar to what we have reached. Because if there was lots of intelligent life that had like broken the barriers of space and broken the barriers of shit like that, we would see some evidence out in the cosmos with like radio readings and all the scientific measurements that we can take. If there were like big galactic empires out there of spacefaring peoples, we would know that. So is there intelligent life out there? Yeah, probably. Is it traveling among the stars? Nah. Nah, I don't think so. I think most life on most places wipes itself out before it ever gets to the point where it can travel very far from its home system. How about whether or not humans have been visited by them? Yeah, that's a conspiracy theory. So when you say shit like aliens helped humans build pyramids because pyramids are hard to build, it turns out they're really hard. When people say shit like that, that's a conspiracy theory. Because you're thinking that one thing is true, that evidence has pointed to the contrary, and you think that everyone else is being fooled by the evidence. When you think everyone else is being fooled by the evidence, that's a conspiracy theory. Because you're negating all the actual evidence to insert your belief. You know? Right, yeah, Clint, there's the other thing. Is FTL actually possible? Right, there's so many things, you know? Right, but if it took them billions of years to find us, by the time they find us, we're not going to be here, or they're not going to be around. That's the improbable. There's a statistical improbability of any intelligent life encountering any other intelligent life in our reality. I think that's just what it is. It's just it's a huge improbability that it would ever happen, right? That's it. Yeah, they built the pyramids with the shit they had at the time, and it took them like 100 years to build one. It was a multi-generational project that ended the lives of like innumerable amounts of slaves who had to do like this grueling fucking labor to make this happen. It wasn't something that they didn't build the pyramids in like a couple months, you know? It's not like raising a new skyscraper in New York. They built the pyramids over generations of the worst kind of labor you could imagine. Yeah. I wish it was fucking aliens, because that would mean that entire empires had not existed on Earth that enslaved entire parts of the population just to build a tomb, basically, for a rich dude to be buried in. I wish there was aliens. And I wish they helped us build the pyramids, because that would mean that throughout history, humans hadn't been absolutely fucking heinous towards like lower ranks of people that were not rich and entitled. But what it shows me instead is that humans have always basically been the same way. That's the actual reality. Yeah, my character is 42 and not 41. I could change the title. I never really bother with that. But I could change the title. I wonder if I can edit the details. Oh, I can. Let's go ahead and edit the details. I'm a noob at streaming, so... There we go. It should be updated. 42. Yeah, the thing is, sometimes the obvious answer is the right answer. You know what I mean? But, you know, some people need to they enjoy those theories because it lets them live in a fantasy world. And the real world sucks, okay? So I get it. I get wanting to live in a fantasy world. I read fantasy books, and I play fantasy games because I, too, want to live in a fantasy world. But I want that fantasy to be recognized as fantasy. What I never want is to be living in the real world, concocting a fantasy around myself about how the world actually works, you know? It's easy to say stuff like, oh yeah, so, you know, it would be impossible with just a rope in a hand, but we don't know what they had. You know, we don't know exactly how they did what they did, but trust me, it wasn't aliens, and it wasn't lasers, and it wasn't gravitational devices. Because if it had been those things, then hundreds of thousands of slaves, you know, wouldn't be buried in mass graves right where the pyramid was built. You know, they wouldn't have had trenches where they had to dump the damn bodies of all the people who died while literally pushing blocks. You know, that shit, that's evidence. There's evidence. There's evidence that says it wasn't lasers and aliens. And so therefore, we just have to trust that it wasn't lasers and aliens. That's kind of how reality works. We look at the evidence that's actually there, and then we make a determination of what happened. You know, we can just make stuff up. That was called mythology. Remember when people had mythology, guys? Greek mythology, Roman mythology, they didn't understand the shit happening in the world, so they made stuff up. They ascribed it to gods, and they said, this is why this happens. And when you look at some shit that you don't understand, like you don't understand how a pyramid would be built, so it's really easy for you to believe that, yeah, aliens probably could have helped, because I don't know how to build the pyramid. I have no idea where I'd begin. You give me 100,000 workers and a bunch of medieval tools, and I couldn't tell you where to start. That doesn't mean it was aliens. That just means that there were people much smarter than us, and they lived a long time ago, but they were still much smarter than us. And they knew how to use what they had a lot better than we ever could. That's all it means. It just means that they were smarter than us about thinking about the tools that they had at the time. It doesn't mean anything else. Just because we can't figure out how they would have done it doesn't mean they didn't do it. It just means that we aren't as smart about what they had and what they could do at the time. Yeah, Mike, exactly. Yes, it's crazy how when you have a lot of time to figure out how physics works, it's crazy the shit that you can figure out. Just the fact that a simple lever is able to work the way that it does is actually amazing and easy to exploit. Yeah, Alex, maybe it's not a tomb. Maybe it's a tomb for aliens. Yeah, right. Exactly. That's the logical step that these people will take. That's the next logical step in that line of thinking, right? Is that they say, like you say, like, they're like, well, it's not a tomb. It's an alien communication device, and on this day and this year, it's gonna send the signal. Right. Oh, okay. Yeah, you call me when the signal goes out, okay? I want to be there to see it. Until then, I'll keep living my boring life stuck here on this boring planet where that kind of shit doesn't happen except in movies. I wish it was different, but it's not. Ivan says even native people, when they saw the first Europeans, they thought they were gods. Even more than that, Ivan, like I've read some accounts that kind of state that when they first saw the boats out in the ocean, they were so unfamiliar with what they were that their brains like basically blocked it out. So like they didn't even really acknowledge the boats coming until the people were off the boats and they were there. So to them it was like they were just suddenly there. But they theorized that since they didn't really have a concept of like boats that could sail across the ocean, that part of the human brain just like doesn't acknowledge shit that it has no realm to grasp. So everything seems like magic when you have like no understanding of what's happening, right? Yeah, I feel like that's the thing to remember is like when you don't know how something happened or what something is, it's easy to think, you know, it could have been magic, it could have been aliens, and it's like, well, just because you don't understand what it is doesn't mean that it wasn't. Yeah, exactly. They could be not right in front of us, but I feel like the theory is that like our brains are not quick to accept completely new things, right? No, obviously if something's right in front of you, you do eventually realize it. They did. They're like, oh shit, there's some vessels and there's some people getting out of them and we don't know why they're doing this or how, but now we know that they're doing it, right? Eventually reality does set in. That's how the human brain does actually work. It's like, yeah, we ignore stuff sometimes right away, but then eventually reality sets in. Remind me to ban Mr. Cheese next time I see him, since he got me talking about this to begin with. I do owe him that. I do owe him that now. Dan, I think the answer to that is definitely. Like, how could there not be at this point? You love cheese. That's fine. I just won't respond to anything else he ever says. That'll be okay. Although I think what I did was I took the lame thing that tried to be and I did turn the conversation towards some stuff that I think is more interesting than the mud theory or whatever we were about to go on about. That just seemed really dumb and boring to me. Some of the other stuff is dumb but more interesting. I'm okay with dumb and interesting. I'm just not a big fan of like things that are simply just really dumb. That's about it. And like, what's the difference? I don't know what the difference is, but I know it when I feel it. There's dumb interesting, and then there's dumb dumb. And I'm just, as long as I don't get made to talk about dumb dumb, I guess I'm okay. So I'm fine talking about dumb interesting things. This quest doesn't seem to turn in... Oh, I see it now. I see it directly north of us. Perfect. Perfect. Viper, thanks for being here, man. Unpaid overtime. Where do you live that they're not compensating you for overtime properly?
Hey!
I mean, you have to live in the States, obviously. But where and why?
Be seeing you.
When I had a salary job, I felt like I spent so much time like thinking about my job outside of work and like really just thinking about my job all the time that I felt like there was a lot of unpaid hours of work going on in my head, especially like as a writer and as a teacher. Like I was always thinking about my job, talking about what I was working on. I felt like it consumed so much more of my life and my time than the time that I was actually like engaged with the job at the office or in meetings and stuff like that.
Can I help
And
you?
I always felt like I was underpaid because I think some people can turn their work brain off, but I think a lot of people like they leave their work brain on, and then they do a lot of like off the clock thinking about work and like off the clock mental planning and stuff that like they don't really get paid for.
Right.
In certain jobs. Obviously, if the job is to go press a button 100 times, you know, you can't do that when you're not there. But if your job is like project management or writing something or anything like that, I feel like they sometimes can get a lot more work out of you than they would otherwise get. I hear my puppy out in the main part of my basement, and he's getting into something, and I have to get up and go see what it is because there's nobody else here. And I've tried to let him stop, and I've hoped that he would just kind of give up on whatever he's doing, but now I actually have to put myself somewhere relatively safe, and I have to get up and go see what he's doing. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be super safe, and I'm going to log out here. And then I'm probably going to have to lock my puppy upstairs. So I apologize, guys, but I do have to go do this. Because no one else is going to. There's no one here besides me and the invisible aliens that I have not acknowledged yet. And I don't think they're going to help. Alright, I'm back. Thank you guys for hanging in there. Yeah, he had gotten into the big dog's kennel, and there's like a bed mat thing in there, and he was like pulling the bed out and scratching at the plastic bottom of the kennel and just being crazy. So I took care of that. Oh boy, here we go. I'm gonna let you guys have at it in the chat. I'm gonna focus on what I want to do, and that might be grinding on some ogres for a bit. Because I really don't have any other really big plans for where to quest right now. Maybe we try for this one. We've tried for this item several times. A Sign of Hope. Yeah, I'd love to have a Sign of Hope that we can actually do this quest. The problem with it is we have to pull... There's a double caster pull. So we have to pull a double caster pull to get this one. Let's go check it out and see how we feel about it today. Yeah, Whitney, I didn't kick him out of the basement. I did just try to, like, shut up the kennels a little bit so he can't get in there and pull stuff out and mess with stuff. I hope that helps. He's not banned yet right now, but if I have to get up again, I'm gonna have to gate him up at the top of the stairs. I'd rather not do that to him. But I've also learned that I can't trust him completely. He's found, like, entire paper towel rolls he's somehow gotten a hold of and, like, ripped to shreds. It's like confetti. A big confetti mess for me to find later. What is going on here? I don't see the item or the enemies, so someone just killed the enemies, and it looks like, though, they also grabbed the item. Because, yeah, oh snap, the item is here. Let's have at it. That was really lucky. We got really, really lucky. Someone has killed these guys. Now I have to see, like, what did that actually give us? It gave us a turn-in right over here. Okay, that's easy enough. Let's go do that. Santiago, thanks for being here, man. I appreciate that. Have I ever had a time in life when I had to stop gaming to focus on in real life leveling? Yeah, man. When I was like 20, 21, I thought I was done playing games forever. I got a stupid fucking job at a collision shop detailing cars and being a porter, and it was my first like 45-hour a week, 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock job, and I was dead tired every day. I was using muscles. At that point in my life, I didn't have any muscles. I was like 150 pounds, and I was 6'4", and I was doing this really physically demanding job. I was trying to like clean cars and polish cars and drive cars around all day and move parts from here to there. And I thought, this is it. I got this stupid job, and it's more money than any of the other stupid jobs I've had, and I'm gonna be able to work it a lot. And yeah, for a while I had to stop playing all video games. I thought I was done.
Be good.
I didn't think I'd ever have the time or energy again. And then life moved on. I quit that job. I got some other stupid jobs. And eventually I fell into my career doing training development for H&R Block. And even doing that, there were parts that I had to quit. There was times that I had to travel a lot, that I couldn't play with my guild anymore. I had to stop raiding.
Watch your back.
Because I was traveling around the country so much teaching classes that there was just no time for me to raid. I couldn't be consistent with it. So yeah, there've definitely been times I've had to quit WoW, and that I've had to quit all games because I felt like I had to do the things in real life that had to be done at that time. Absolutely. But then when I decided that I wanted to do those things again, what I made sure to do was I made sure that I was taking steps towards a life where I could do those things. Like quitting the shitty collision shop job was a step towards, like, you know, having a life back where I wasn't tired and miserable all the time. And yeah. But yeah, sometimes you just have to do what you have to do. But I would say even when you're in a point in life when you're doing what you have to do, you should be taking steps towards something that's a little bit better for you. Jay, welcome, man. Everything is good. I hope you're well too. Oh, we can't do this one. I don't know why I took this quest. Yeah, 45 plus elite quest, Black Drake's Heart. Yeah, probably not. Tremors of the Earth, though. What is this? Retrieve the Sign of the Earth for Garrick. Okay. Yeah, maybe. Maybe we can do that. Have we really felt anything about this respec? How do we feel about this respec? I feel like it's okay. I don't think it's any worse than what we were doing before. And since I kind of generally dislike Seal of Command, I feel like it's probably better. We're still using half of our mana every pull, basically, so. We took out Seal of Command, and instead of going into Improved Ret Aura, we went into Sanctity Aura for the first time, which is giving us 10% more holy damage, which we're benefiting on more by using Seal of Righteousness. So we do Seal of Crusader, we put that on the enemy. Now they're going to take more holy damage. Okay? And so we're dealing consistent holy damage now that we have Seal of Righteousness up, and we are dealing more holy damage from Sanctity Aura. So basically this build doubles down on holy damage. This is like a heavy holy damage build, essentially. Let's head over here and see if we can find out what the quest is about.
What brings you here?
I heard from Sigrun that you have been a great help to him. Perhaps I might enlist your help. I was sent here by my master, Crassus of the Kirin Tor, to put an end to the trouble brewing in Lethlor Ravine. I cannot divulge the exact nature of my assignment here or the task that I must undertake, but be assured that it is of vital importance. If you can't tell us anything, I can't trust you, buddy. You don't look very trustworthy. A band of wandering ogres, sometimes seen near Camp Buff, stole an object called the Sign of the Earth. I must have it. Bring it to me and I will tell you more. Okay, he'll tell us more.
Till next we meet.
Wandering ogres sounds like it's that band. This is the band of wandering ogres. So it's not an elite quest. It's not an elite quest. But it's like 5 ogres together. Right? This is the big patrol of the big ogre group that kind of travels around. I don't think we're going to do that one. It would be really cool if we can group up. Then we could do it. Yeah. I'm going to come grind over here for a little bit. It's one of my favorite grind spots. And I'll just kind of think about what else we can do. I don't really have any like awesome ideas at the moment. Let's see. We could go back to Tannerus, but I feel like the stuff in Tannerus is just a little bit higher level than what we want to be working on right now. I don't feel like it's going to be a super good idea to go do that stuff. What about the Feralist stuff? We don't have a lot of quests that we picked up in Feralist. It's hard to know without having more quests if we should bother going back. Well, we immediately got a green item to drop. It's not the kind of item that I would want. So I don't know if that's a good sign. The Highlands, like the Arathi Highlands? We've done a bunch of stuff in the Arathi Highlands already. I don't know that we have anything new there right now. Let's take a look. We have a lot of elite stuff that we can't do. We have Wand over Fist we could do. Yeah, we can do Wand over Fist. That'd be fighting ogres. Also, it'd be fighting ogres down here. This stuff we can't really do. I'm not bold enough to fight to the back of this cave to talk to the Moat of Misriel to turn that quest in. So I don't think I can do that stuff right now. I don't remember for the ogre quest whether or not we have to fight into the back of an ogre cave or not, or if it's like relatively safe. I remember ogres. I remember a named ogre. I feel like he's inside like a little cave and not at the back of a super deep cave, if that makes sense. But I don't remember. Yeah. But that would be the only thing I would really do there right now. We're just at that level where we don't have a lot of stuff to do. We need to get a couple more levels, and then a lot of Tannerus will open up, a lot of Feralus will open up. And we're gonna hit a similar slump. We're gonna get to like level 45 or 46, and we're gonna be back at a point where we have nowhere to go and nothing to do. That's basically what's gonna happen. The Forsaken Courier? Yeah, we might be able. There's like 6 enemies, I think, though. Even at this level, it might be tough. There's 5, yeah. At level 51, yeah, you're in that that level range. Felwood is okay at level 51, I believe. Ungoro Crater, you could probably do some stuff in Ungoro Crater. I try to aim for level like 52 for Ungoro, so like Ungoro might be an idea. Felwood might be an idea. The Hinterlands might be an idea for level 50-ish. You're not quite ready for Winter Spring, I wouldn't think, or either of the Plague Lands. So yeah, Felwood, Ungoro. Those are really like your best bets at level 51. And I'm not sure about Felwood actually. Felwood might be like level 53 to 55. Yeah, Ungoro seems like a sure bet if you haven't done anything there. There's a lot to do in Ungoro. That's like the great thing about it. It's actually a sizable questing hub at that level, and there aren't many of them. But yeah, Felwood might be okay. I'm just not sure if Felwood is like low 50s or mid 50s. It might be mid 50s. I know for sure Winter Spring is mid 50s. Ungoro is scary. There's lots of enemies there. There's lots of wandering elite T-Rexes. Yep, I'm not looking forward to those areas. I want to get there because I need quests to do, but part of me is kind of worried about the same kinds of stuff, is that it seems like a place to go to die. And traditionally, it has been a place where I've died many times, so... Definitely not looking forward to any of those zones at all. Felwood is 48 to... That's a huge range. 48 to 55. Alright, let's go work on an actual quest. Let's try to check out the goblins again now that we've gained a couple levels. Maybe they'll be a little bit easier. Maybe even fighting some of the zombies for Zanzil's mixture could be okay. Yeah, I'd really like to be working on something. Or if we're gonna grind, I guess at this point I'd want to grind on enemies that are a bit higher level. Because if we're grinding and we get any good drops, but they're like lower level drops, that's just going to be kind of disappointing and wasteful. If we're going to grind, I'd like to grind on stronger stuff. Let's check the inventory, and then we can head out.
Hey, yeah. Real.
Jason, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by. Asman's Pizza. Good name grab. Yeah, I appreciate that. Alright, so I feel like we can head up here. We can check the level of the zombies. There's a couple of name guys. Now, without help, without like other players in that area, there's no way. There's no way we can take on the named guys. That's if they're not elite. It doesn't say that they're elite. But two of them are hanging out together, I feel like. Or maybe not. No, there's two in the one place, and then there's one over by the coast. Maybe it's possible. We'll take a look at it. This area has given me problems before, so if we have to like run away, I wouldn't be very surprised. But I do want to take a look at it, and then we'll go visit our goblin friends, and we'll see how they're doing this evening. And see if they are, we'll see. They had pets out last time. They all had summoned out like some robot pets. And that was pretty troublesome to try to deal with. But yeah, maybe things will go differently today. This is the way to the beach. We could fight some of them at the beach. I want to check this area out up here to see if we could ever isolate the named guys. Or if they are basically impossible to pull on their own. Yeah, we're not taking two of them back to back. We'll let him leash. There we go. I would have bad feelings about it too, but I'm really familiar with how much this place sucks. So I'm definitely ready for it to suck. I'm definitely ready to have to run away from most of these fights. So yeah, like being this close to these guys, you know, not really fun. If we can back him up a little bit, that would be ideal. They do have a couple phases where they melee attack a bit, so we have to take advantage of that, and we have to move them when we can. And if we don't move them when we can, then we could have some problems. Most definitely. Yeah, we needed him to move one more time, but... Oh, there we go. He ran the way we needed him to. Okay, perfect. Yeah, there's only going to be so many guys here that we can tag safely. That's probably going to be true at this point. And the mixture is one of those quests that has a really, really low drop rate. Like pulling this guy seems basically impossible without pulling everybody else. That's kind of the problem here. And then we have John the Crow. We have, yeah, there's too many guys here. It is a shame if they took this guy out and took this guy out, or moved them just a little bit. It would be more possible to do it. But we really, oh, we have another player here though. Okay. How about you take some might? Okay, you pulled that guy. That doesn't really help us at all. Yeah, that doesn't really help us. Yeah. I want to see if I can pull this guy without pulling the guy back here. I'd be really shocked, but we need to find out. Alright, so that wasn't bad. Oh, shit. Our dude over there is running for his life. He is running for his life. I am going to come in here and tag this guy out. And we'll pull him all the way back here. Yeah, the road right here, like this area, is where we're going to try to fight basically anything that I pull out of here. We're going to try to fight it all the way back outside. Where's our buddy at? Yeah, our buddy is nowhere to be seen. Oh, he's over here. Okay, this is good. Now, I will let him have this guy this time if he wants. I would happily take the other guy. Let's see. He's not going this way, though. Yeah. He probably thinks that we'll take the named guy, and he doesn't want the trouble. There's another named guy over here, I believe, that also has a bunch of guys around him. Let's take a peek. Well, we got Mari Clubfoot. I don't see anybody else here. Alright, well that was not too bad. We got one guy. I don't want to be on that aggro chain, so I'm not getting involved in that. Does the Pally have bonus damage against undead? I don't think we have bonus damage, but I could be using Exorcism, and Exorcism we can only use on undead. So to your point, I believe just using Exorcism should be a little bit of extra damage for us. But by default, I don't think so. Although I could be wrong. Yeah, we're basically never gonna get this guy unless A, someone else comes along and fights with us. B, we could try to pull them. We could try to leash one of them and keep the other one. Do I feel good about that tactic? Not particularly good with them both being basically at our level. We've done it before where we've pulled two enemies, we've kind of kited them back, and we've been able to drop one of them. I just don't know if that's going to happen here or not. I feel like we have to give it a try, and we have to find out. I'm not sure why I got dazed there at all. That was not great. I'd even be fine popping lay on hands here if we have to keep this guy. Let's do lay on hands. I don't know if I'll fight this guy or not, or if we'll still run away. It'll depend on what happens in the next couple of attacks. Yeah. Let's feel this out. We could pop a potion here for some extra mana, and I think we're gonna do that. Let's get this heal in before we... Oh, son of a bitch. Hey, at least he did it now and not when we're at 20%. That was nasty, though. Absolutely nasty. Shit, I have to heal again. I don't even trust it. Unreal. This guy's been the pain. I don't really want to spend any of my mana right now. Okay. Now we're auto-attacking. Questionably not worth it. We blew lay on hands. We didn't blow our bubble, so we still have a bubble. We used all of our potions, basically. And yeah, we got the spyglass. That's great. We got a mixture. That's fine. Yeah, it was a tough one. We used a bunch of resources for it, but it is what it is. Eric, do I think a Ret Pally would duo well with a Rogue? Yeah, you know, I think that any two classes could work well together. I think that people probably have some ideas on, like, the best class combos. But yeah, a Paladin is so powerful that, like, a Paladin and anything else, especially a Paladin and, like, a high DPS class, like somebody who can crank out a lot of DPS, would be a super strong combo. Absolutely. Yeah, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move along somewhere else. I don't really like that. Yeah. I don't really like that. That's not feeling super good. The cool thing is we got 2 of the items. Oh good, it's raining now. Perfect, perfect. And so the only other item we need for that one is going to be down here. Are these guys like a lower level or like more manageable in some way? We can go have a look. Yeah, that was not a fun time. I didn't like it either. So we're not going to keep doing that, but maybe we could go check out the beach and see what the pulls are like down there. Level 44, just not feeling too good. We did the intro quest in Tannerus already, Dayon, like the lower level one, the first kill quest, and the Waste Wander water pouches. We already did those. So the next one is this level 44 quest, which I feel like they're all kind of the same. Now maybe the humans would be better. The humans I worry about, there are shadow mages here for this one. They have Voidwalker pets. And the Voidwalker pets are beefy, and around them there are guys hanging out in stealth, so I'm not too keen on doing that quest yet. And that's really all that we have over that way. The next bunch of quests will be to go to the pirate area, get all the pirate hats. Oh, hello! A level 42 stealth Shadow Maul Panther, perfect. Okay, he's resisted. Our first 2 spells were totally resisted, and then he started parrying stuff. Guys, these zombies I think are just going to kick my ass. And I feel kind of bad about that, because I feel like as a paladin, I should be much more powerful than them. I should have that advantage against the undead. And I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling any advantage against the undead here. I'm feeling very bad. Yeah, even Exorcism just doesn't really do a lot. That being said, do I have the right rank of Exorcism out? Probably not. Let's get rid of the disease. We can get rid of that at least. Rank 3. We are using rank 2, so that explains a little bit of that. Yeah, he's 2 levels higher than me, that's true. He's still yellow, so I kind of think he's yellow, we're at level-ish. We did have the weaker Exorcism. I want to see that big Exorcism hit at the beginning. That would help out a lot. When they resist it, it feels really, really bad. Because we can only use it on undead and demons. I would really like it if they just couldn't resist it, yeah. I feel like you're evil, I'm using Exorcism, it should just hit you. That's all. Okay, yep, I don't know about being here. We're making progress, but is it worth it? I don't know. Level 44 seems bad also. I guess when we're here, we're fighting guys like this, we have to just make sure that we have full mana. Full mana, every pull, full HP, every pull. We can't really afford to mess around at all. Looking for the named guy. I don't see him anywhere here. I'd like to start pulling from here and kind of work our way over. These guys don't run, so that's, you know, that's a positive. It's a positive thing. We can't seem to hit them to save our lives, which is super confusing. Super confusing that we just can't hit them. But yeah, we are under level, I guess. So there we go, there's a big crit. That wasn't so bad. Yeah, the name guy is like hanging out in this front room, right? Yeah, I kind of remember where he's at. I feel like this other player might get there before us, which isn't really a big deal. Yeah, there he is. That's gonna be a 2-pull, yeah. I don't have lay on hand, so I don't know if we even try this then. I can't see of any way that's not a 2-pull. They're gonna be chained together, aren't they? We're gonna find out really quick. Okay. Alright, they weren't chained together, so that's cool. Let's see if we can kill this guy. I feel like all we just did was like we helped somebody else get the name guy. We probably helped this person get the name guy. Let's see if they head up there. Chase, hey man, hey, I'm excited about it. I'm excited to have news. I think that some people wish we'd heard a little bit of a different story out of the restrictions and stuff like that. You know, not everyone's happy that we'll be able to seemingly group up and trade and use the auction house, but I'm pretty happy about it. It's going to be a different hardcore playthrough. You know, it's not going to be similar to these playthroughs. It'll be a little bit different, but I feel like that's okay. So yeah. I'd be more hyped if they gave us a date. Like, a date's what's going to get people hyped. It's kind of surprising to me that they talked about all the restrictions and that they didn't give a date. because the restrictions are going to be the part that like the community is split on, right? Announcing the restrictions is not really going to create hype. Because some people are going to like the rules and some people are not going to like the rules. But what would have created hype was like actually having a release date. That would have created hype. So it kind of surprises me that they didn't do that together. And I wonder if they're going to regret that at all. Because now we have time to think about the rules and whether we like them before we have a release date to get hyped about. Which for some people is going to limit like how excited they are and whether or not they play. Like me, I'm happy. I want to be able to do dungeons more than once, and they resolved that for me with the 24-hour lockout. I'd like to be able to group up in the open world to actually do the elite quest, and without a grouping restriction, we'll be able to do that now. And I like to be able to use the auction house, even though I realize that for like wave 2, 3, and 4 of hardcore characters on that server, they're going to be like level 1 twinks right out of the gate because of like trading in the auction house, but that's okay. Yeah, I just feel like they could have done themselves a favor by releasing the restrictions and the release date at the same time. But yeah, they chose not to do that. The daily lockout is good because the daily lockout's like the heroic dungeon lockout. You know, you can do it once per day, right? And then you're locked out of it. So it works. It works, and it's something familiar. It's a familiar length of lockout. Like if it were a 2-day lockout or a 3-day lockout, that wouldn't make sense for a lot of people, you know. But doing it as a daily lockout makes a lot of sense. A level 21 twink would be level 1 twink would be a level 1 character who, when they log into the game, they've been mailed like all the best in slot level 1 stuff, or they've been given a shit ton of gold to go buy like the best level 1 stuff, you know. It's basically like you use your further along character to send gold back and power up your low level guy. Or send him gold so he can go on the auction house, or trade him items, stuff like that. Yeah, enchants. You can get like super powerful enchants on level 1 items. Get like Crusader enchant on a level 1. You know, there's a lot of stuff you can do to power up a low level character if you have the time and money to do it. And so that's kind of what people worry about. You know, eventually you're going to see characters running around with level 1 weapons with Crusader enchant on them. Stuff like that. Yeah, and at low levels, powerful enchants like that, yeah, they can one-shot enemies. Just with the power of the enchant alone, like at level 1, you would be one-shotting a lot of enemies. But, you know, not everyone's going to do that, because not everyone's going to have the resources. Not everyone's going to be able to get a character high up level enough to do that. See, that's kind of the thing that's different. On Bloodsail Buccaneers, I can level a character to 60 and die as many times as I want. Okay? And technically, I can disable my hardcore add-on and I can mail myself stuff to an alt. And then I could use all that stuff, but on the hardcore server there's not going to be anything like that, because any character that is a high level will have gotten there through the challenge. Because on the official server, you're not going to be able to res. It's not going to be an option. Whereas right now, they can't really allow auction house and trading because we can't verify that everyone is actually doing the challenge properly. You know, there's a lot of level 60s on this character that they didn't do the challenge. They're like grandfathered in level 60s from when it was an RP server, or they just weren't doing the challenge to begin with. And for someone like that, it would be easy to kit out like a low level character to do the challenge. And on Bloodsail Buccaneers, there's nothing we can do to stop that. But at least on the hardcore server, if a person got a character to a high enough level that they can get an alt, all that cool stuff, then they put in work. Like, they busted their ass to get that character to live, to get him to a point where, yeah, if you want to do another hardcore run, I guess, you know, now you can make it easier for that other character because you managed to get a character there. Or you got them high enough in level and you got the gold necessary to be able to afford those things for your next character. But if your character dies at any point on the official server, they're totally dead. You can't just res them, keep going, or res them and send all your gold off or anything like that. So I in that way, like, I'm okay with it in a sense. Because they're going to have to work to get to that point, and you still only have like a 1% chance of getting past level 40. So, you know. Yeah, everyone on the server will be hardcore, so even if someone is powering up an alt, they're powering up an alt based off of effort they put in on a character that had 1 life. So I'm okay with that, I guess. Until I really thought about it that way, I wasn't sure if I would be okay with it. But with it all being like server rules, you know, I am okay with it, I think. I think it's absolutely fine. With grouping, the chance might be higher than 1%. Yeah, sure. You know, lots of people, even when we can group in WoW, a lot of times we don't. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna, like, seek out groups to group in to be safe. If I see people, same thing as in regular WoW, if I see people doing the same quest as me, I'm gonna try to invite them to my group. You know what I mean? Because we're doing the same quest. But I'm not gonna seek out groups just to stay safe. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want you guys on the official hardcore realms just rolling with me and grouping with me to keep me safe. That's not something I would do. But if we're in the same area and we're doing the same stuff, then yeah, it makes absolute sense to play the game like an MMO and to group up. Groups can get silly and wipe. Yeah, there's still a chance you could die. It's going to make some stuff a lot safer and a lot easier. It's not going to make every situation that way. And there's always the chance that, like, the overconfidence thing of being in a group, like, you could still get yourself killed. And the rest of the group could live. You know, you could get yourself killed, and maybe the group doesn't save you, you know, I don't know. Anything could happen. Layla, I'm sorry, man, I must have missed it. Give me a second. Making everything bind on pickup? That would be a way to, you're saying to, like, allow the auction house, but have it so you can't, like, sell items and stuff? They could do that, yeah. Yeah, we talked about a lot of options on, like, what they can do to make it so that it was still kind of, like, solo self-found. As far as, like, only putting crafting mats on the auction house, you know? Stuff like that. Yeah, they could have done that, and I think that would have been fine, too. Ultimately, like, they didn't go that route, you know? I feel like they must have had a lot of conversations like the ones that we've had about, like, what could they do, how could they do it, and they hashed all this stuff out. I have to feel like if we're able to come up with it, then they probably thought of it too, type of thing. Not always the case, obviously, but I have to feel like that they put their heads together on it, and this is what they settled on as, like, the best way for them to do it. I think that the open grouping and allowing stuff like the auction house and trading, I think it'll probably get more people initially to do the challenge. It might even pull in some people that, like, traditionally they would not have wanted to even try, you know? I still think that the amount of people that are going to live is going to be very, very small. Yeah, Red Robin, all of these guys are really dangerous to me right now. I probably don't really need to be fighting them. I probably don't really need to be fighting them. That being said, we've killed all the name guys, and we only need 6 more items. And I think if we just keep being careful, and if I'm paying attention to my mana, especially paying attention to my mana, then we should be okay. I really love the dungeon lockout, and you know, that's how I have to think that they've thought of all the stuff we've thought of, because I didn't think of the one-day dungeon lockout. I didn't hear anybody ever propose that when we talked about it, but they came up with it, and it turned out to be a good idea that makes sense, because it mimics other lockouts in the game that we're already familiar with. So the fact that they came up with that when, like, I had not thought of that idea, it gives me faith that they thought about everything they could do with the auction house. You know, they sat there and they probably thought, what if we lock this out? What if we lock that out? What if we only do this? And ultimately what they decided was that there should not be a restriction on it. That's kind of what they went with. Chase, let's do a duel on the PTR. Yeah, definitely on the PTR. Thanks for being here, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I will duel somebody to death on the PTR at level 1. Absolutely. So far, yeah, there's so many things that already prevent boosting. Because, like, firstly, you know, to boost, you got to have a high-level character willing to do that for you. Secondly, what they do now is, like, if you're in a dungeon and someone in the group is super high level, you don't get experience. Yeah, they fixed that in Season of Mastery. If you're in a dungeon with a guy who's outside of the level range, you're not gonna get experience. It's gonna nerf the experience into the ground. Yeah, it does that even in Wrath of the Lich King, I think. You get into a group and somebody's one level above the maximum for the dungeon and nobody gets XP. I've had it happen to me. And it sucks when it happens. But yeah, you can't boost anybody like that with kill XP anymore in a dungeon because of the way it works. So that's already taken care of. Yeah, they had to fix that in Season of Mastery. Red Robin, Bloodsail Buccaneers is an official WoW server. Yep. What it doesn't have is baked in hardcore rules. So when we say like official Blizzard hardcore, we're talking about the server that they'll open up that will have the rules baked into it so that we won't be using this. But yeah, Bloodsail Buccaneers and Hydraxian Waterlords, those are just two servers that got co-opted by the hardcore community and they decided this is where we're doing hardcore. And we're going to do it with this add-on. But yeah, both of them are actual Blizzard servers. Yep. Yeah, they did a lot in Classic to stop dungeon boosting, absolutely. It's entirely different now than it was prior to Season of Mastery. Because yeah, prior to Season of Mastery, like basically all you saw was like high levels, like running lower levels through dungeons for boost, like selling boost like that, offering boost. Tactical, I have not. I always use just like a pair of buzzers, like just traditional like hair buzzers. I take all the blades off it and just use the base of the buzzers because I don't often shave my head. I usually just buzz it all the way down. I did have to shave it last week because like my buzzers broke because I dropped them. They slipped out of my hand, my slovenly sweaty palm. I dropped them and I could not finish trimming my hair, so I had to shave my head. But typically I don't go for that close of a cut. Yeah, I like to just buzz it off. And I just have a pair of I got a one that plugs into the wall now so that if I drop it, the cord will catch over my shoulder and it won't smack the ground and break the blades. Because that's what happened to my last set of buzzers. It was wireless and then it just hit the ground once. Totally busted it. I'll check it out though, yeah. My dogs have been telling me like they need some attention. they're finding things to get into, they're finding things to bark at. My big dog is just like looking out the window upstairs, finding anything to bark at that he can bark at. And there he goes. It's a good time. I'm home alone right now, so there's nobody else to care for them. I didn't think that like having the dogs left home with me would be more troublesome than having the kid left home with me. That thought hadn't occurred to me, that the kid can kind of work through things on his own and the dogs cannot. Who would have thought? Yeah, Logan, it's not worth it. You absolutely can't have people level you that way anymore. Yeah. Back in the day, you could stand at the entrance, you could have like your Death Knight friend go pull the whole dungeon, and you can like farm Scarlet Monastery that way for levels, but yeah, they fixed that stuff. You can't do that anymore. It's better for the health of the game that people can't just have their friend boost them through a dungeon over and over again. Because then you have to play with other people and you gotta play the game, you know. So yeah, they fixed all that stuff. Yeah, I guess if you're farming silk, it still works. Hell, if you're looking for gear, it could still work, right? If you just want someone to feed you gear, then yeah, sure, you could still have somebody run you through and you can maybe get the drops out of it. It doesn't really solve that problem. But what was happening is people were selling runs to level up, you know, people wanted to get boosted. They wanted to get leveled quick, and so like higher level characters were selling that for gold and probably selling it for like real life money in some way as well. And it was creating like a really bad environment to play the game in. Yeah, they basically have made it so it's a waste of time, essentially, unless you're going after very specific stuff. Eventually they'll get smart and they'll just make it so that if you have someone outside of the level range, I don't even think it should drop any loot. They could easily make it so that nothing in the dungeon drops anything. If you have somebody outside of the level requirements, which I think would also be a good idea. How is Paladin in Classic? Well, in Classic Hardcore, it's keeping us alive. It doesn't have, like, the spiciest rotation. It doesn't deal the sexiest damage. But it's very, very survivable. And so for what we're doing, that's perfect. As far as endgame and stuff, I don't know how it stands up. I do not play Classic Era endgame. I might check out the PTR tomorrow, if there's any interest in it. I don't really know, like, what would be the point of checking out the PTR. PTRs have always been weird to me because basically, like, you're doing testing for free. Like, you're doing the game company's QA testing for nothing, basically. You know, the shit that they would have to pay a team of people to do back in the day. When you play on the PTR and you're actively reporting bugs, part of what you're doing is a thing that used to be a paid job. So I'm always kind of iffy about PTRs. And in this one, I wonder, like, what would I be trying to test about it exactly? I'm really curious of, like, how the long-term effects of the auction house and how the long-term effects of being able to do dungeons will make it feel different. I'm really interested in that side of it, but that's stuff that we're not really going to feel until we're, like, deep into a playthrough. I might jump on just to see if anything feels different, but yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a hardcore server. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I might check it out. JD, right now we're using Sanctity Aura. Yeah, we have Sanctity Aura right now. Increases holy damage done by party members within 30 yards by 10%. We're doing like a heavy holy damage build, so we went into Sanctity Aura. Yep, that's what we got going on. Nah, PTR characters are not going to be kept. Yeah, your character is gone. It lives on the PTR, essentially. So it's completely pointless from like a player perspective to ever do anything on the PTR. For me, there's zero impetus to players, but people do it anyway, and Blizzard kind of relies on them to do it, because like I said, they don't have a QA department, they don't have anyone they can pay to go in and test this shit, so they rely on players wanting to get in there and check it out. And when the PTR is offering something new, like new content, or a new raid, or a new dungeon, it kind of makes sense that people would want to see that early. When it comes to testing just like server rules, and if the server is going to function, I don't really see any impetus for a player to want to partake in that. Even someone like me, like I would stream it and that's fine. But I don't really feel any value in it. What can I test? We can duel someone to the death. We can die and see how that works and just like enjoy our ghost. Yeah, we can go click on an auction house that we'll be able to do that, but it's PTR, so the auction house will be empty. And yeah, I'm like, why? From like a player perspective, I don't really see a lot of point in it, you know? The ghost only guild? Yes. I think it's cool that you can like hang out as a ghost. Thoughts on no bubble hearthing? I think it's bullshit that they specifically called out bubble hearthing by paladins. And they didn't talk about power word shield hearthing. They didn't talk about entangling roots hearthing. They didn't talk about void walker sacrificing bubble hearthing. They didn't talk about frost nova blink away mana shield hearthing. What else am I missing? They didn't talk about taunting totem being laid down as you hearth out. There are lots of different classes that can do different things that could allow them to not take any damage and hearth out safely. The paladin is not the only one that can do this. Is it easier on a paladin than some other classes? Yeah, a little bit, maybe. Except for the priest that can power word shield and hearth out. So yeah, it was pretty stupid and annoying. Yep. I don't like them trying to create class balance where there's no fucking class balance. There is no class balance, especially in hardcore. Some classes, it's easier to survive. Some classes, it's really effing hard to survive. And we should not be trying to, and in fact there is no way to create class balance in hardcore. Because the game was never meant to be played like this. So yeah, I didn't like that one. Not that it matters to me. I mean, I'll probably never play a paladin again in hardcore, so it doesn't matter to me too much, but I think it's incredibly stupid to not consider the other parts of the game where you can play a class and you can lock an enemy up and you can hearth out just fine. Right, it's still something the class can do though. It's still something specific to the class that it can do to avoid damage while it hearths away. And so that's the spirit of the rule, is that, you know, we're stopping incoming damage and we're able to escape. There are lots of ways to do that on many different classes. And I don't feel like it's right to exclude one because there's a perception that it's easier to execute. And that's what the perception is. The perception that tapping this and tapping this is easier than doing any other combination of buttons. And while that may be the case, again, that's an attempt to create class balance where no class balance can or is supposed to exist. Because where does it fucking stop? What else do we have to balance? Because I'm sure there's lots of gripes. You know what? Because if we start down that road of if we have to balance classes for hardcore, well then delete all the fucking classes. Just have one class, have an attack button, and let people go to it. That's the end of that road. So I don't even like going down that road to begin with, and I really wish they had not. I really wish, especially with all the other things that they didn't restrict. They, you know, when they don't restrict the auction house or trading, when it's no longer solo self-found. For them to restrict that feedback came powerfully from a few people, and they listened to those few people. That's all. That's all that happened. Some couple of people were very loud, very vocal, and very persuasive, and they just were listened to. And that's how that rule got into the update today. One of the great things about hardcore is that some classes are easier and some classes are harder. That's part of the good thing of it, is like if you want to do the challenge, but you feel like you're not that great, you can go on a priest or a paladin, and look, your life is a lot easier, you can survive a lot more. If you want a challenge, you can go on a rogue or a warrior. And look, you got no heal buttons, and suddenly it's a lot harder. You know, why are we worried about how we can hearth away? Don't we have to give the warriors and rogues a heal button? I have heal buttons. Isn't it unfair that they don't? Like, why don't we give them... Why don't we take away my heal buttons? They can't heal. Why should I be able to? I should have to get rid of them all, right? And there's my dog. He really wants me to not be streaming right now. Eventually, he might get his way. That's him barking at me, by the way. He's barking at me right now. He started by trying to make up something outside to bark at, and when that didn't work, he came to the top of the stairs and started barking at me. Don't have a blue healer, ever. Don't ever get a blue healer. I literally can't come to the door right now, so it's unfortunate that you left your keys here, but I'll come to the door soon. Yeah, apparently he does need me to come to the door because my wife does not have the keys to the house. So I do have to come to the door. What I'm going to do, guys, is I am going to end the stream here for tonight. I'm gonna safely log myself out here so that we don't get killed. And this seems like a really, really good spot for me just to end my evening. I appreciate you guys coming out. Sorry it's kind of sudden, but this feels like the time to end. And I'll be trying to get back on here tomorrow. So yeah, I appreciate you guys. It was awesome. Thanks for being here. And until next time, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll see you back here again really soon.